This episode of An Unexpected Podcast is brought to you by Nicholas Freeberg. Thank you.
Hello, friends, and welcome to An Unexpected Podcast. I'm Ez.
And I'm Lane.
And we're talking.
We're coming to you from the Shire of America, the beautiful state of Ohio, in a little village called Amanda.
This week, we're talking to the White Hand as we cover the voice of Saruman as a part of our journey through you-know-where, Middle-earth.
Talk to the hand, Saruman.
Yeah.
Sort of like that. Like we're not listening to you.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I have no power here.
Yeah. Don't you speak in words to me. Don't you do that.
We've got a lot to get to. We're not going to horse around. We know we kind of messed around last week, guys, but this is all business.
We know we were a little bit...
having too much fun.
That's what we were.
But we're stripping fun from this book club. No more fun for anyone. That's our new golden rule.
Yeah,
okay?
so you guys sit down. I need you listening. I need your books open.
Hands to yourself.
Eyes
on me.
To page 598.
I say 1, 2. You say eyes on you. 1, 2.
Eyes on.
Don't,
Mr. Smith, what'd you say?
You don't be creative. You don't think.
Okay.
You go work in those factories.
Got it. Let's do it.
All right. So we got a little table of contents.
Good Lord.
Man, I tell you what. There's a lot of things coming up here this episode.
Here's the thing. I think what it is I'm getting intoxicated.
Intoxicated from that candle.
Yeah.
Rachel, what do you put in these things, hon?
What is this actual wine?
The Cab Sav is making my head spin. I'm seeing double.
Yeah.
I'm officer. No, Troy Smith, you're not officer.
No. Honestly, the candle is very potent and strong. I'm tasting it with my nose, and it's just wonderful.
See, the beautiful thing about her sending us all these samples is week by week,
yeah,
we get to enjoy a different scent each time.
Right.
And it's pretty awesome. Last week was the firewood, which,
wow.
I mean, I don't know if you can compete with that. And clearly, if we're looking at the poll, guys, go to the group, check out the poll.
That's right.
Firewood is kind of dominating.
Yeah.
I think, maybe we'll let that go another week, then we're going to cut it off.
It's really
going to snip.
Yeah.
And I think that might be the winner. Unless you guys rally together and change that fate, firewood's probably going to be the official candle scent. Which
and that's not a
I'm
bad
all
thing.
for. No,
you guys will not be disappointed.
And think about it. You go outside, you get a sniff of air. There's definitely firewood out there, especially in the Shire, young man.
Yeah, I believe it. Mm-hmm.
The Shire.
Yep.
What else you got there, buddy?
Well, Criff, Bark, and Burke, and Hobbit. I was just thinking of making new words, in the podcast. So they're going to come up with some new fancy words that I might use myself here later.
You're a wordsmith.
So if anybody wants to, make up some words and add some meaning to them, let me know.
Wow, that's kind of like a Tolkien thing to do.
Let's have
like
a
word contest,
a word club.
Word club. I like it.
Made up words.
You got a couple shout outs you want to give too, right?
Yeah. So we've got Nat Willis and Sheriston. We've got tons more people in the group that have been added. Nat, by the way, this is so she recently posted a couple of different things that were super funny in the group, and we are
She's been posting for a while.
Yeah, we are long overdue on the shout outs, guys. If you're just hit us up, man. I mean, tag us in a post, and
guys, if you want to swim in a lovely pool of Tolkien, I don't know, titillation, go check out the group. Okay, if you haven't been on the Facebook group yet, even if you're not on Facebook, which I totally agree and understand.
Yeah, sure.
Agree with, understand.
Make a fake account.
Make a fake account. Go in there, put Lane Smith in there. Be a Lane Smith.
Please do.
Be
someone's going to now, right?
Be an Ezra Girk.
Yeah.
And go out there and just join the group.
Yeah.
It's so cool. There's so much stuff. It's a great place to get lost.
Kurza Irk, thank you.
Kurza Irk. I couldn't think of it.
Nat, by the way, Rook, she posted this like kind of meme thing where it's like there are two types of people at the start of December, and you've got the guy Will Ferrell who does Elf. He's like freaking out, right? And you've got Theoden. So it begins.
Which type were you as?
Yeah, I am. I don't know. I'm kind of in between.
This year, in past years,
yeah.
So it begins. I'm Theoden. It's like, well, Theoden. I'm well, Thanksgiving is over. What is there to live for now? But now, with Winnie and the excitement she brings to Christmas,
right?
And Sarah being in love with it, I'm verging on.
There's a lot.
Buddy the Elf, which is a scary place for me.
I hear
a little too happy this time of year.
Speaking of that, special thanks to Susie.
Susie Millhouse coming through with some unexpected podcast ornament. Guys, we all started this book club together. And never in my wildest dreams did I think that one of our friends would send us, candle samples. Or that another friend would send us Trivial Pursuit, Lord of the Rings. That another friend would send us baby blankets and burnt cloths for my crotch fruit, number 1.
Histories of Middle-earth.
Histories of Middle-earth. Yeah. The full exclusive volumes. A menu.
Yeah.
From the Eagle and Child.
Songs.
That they've sung. And then, ornaments.
Yeah.
Ornaments to hang on our tree. And have that UP right on it.
Yeah.
Insignia of our book club. The G rune, if you will, of this book club. The calling card.
Yeah.
So, Susie, thank you for that. And if you guys have seen that, I think I posted it in the group and the page. Not sure. There's lots of places. Hit her up. Give her a couple bucks. She'll send you one because they're amazing.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Really cool stuff.
And if you want to send anything our way, art, letters, whatever. Maybe you want to send your Bywater post in person. You want us to read a physical letter.
Oh, my goodness. I didn't even think about that.
There you go. Maybe there's a piece of bark from your favorite tree. You want to send that would be hurting the tree. Piece of blade of grass. Some sense memory. We're all about sense memory. Something that connects your story to make it a physical token, if you will.
Send us a
totem.
Send us a mud pie.
Send us a mud pie.
Okay.
You can send that to P.O. Box 96, Amanda, Ohio 43102. The really cool thing is we've been getting these packages in, right?
Yeah.
And I'm blown away because above the address it says The Shire.
I know, man.
It says The Shire, P.O. Box 96, Amanda, Ohio 43102. And I don't know if you guys have been talking to each other, if you've been planning that, but it's been multiple packages now that say The Shire.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Pretty cool. Not Lane Inez.
No, yeah.
The Shire.
Just The Shire.
As it should be.
Yeah.
So, we're doing all this Christmas talk, man. Ho, 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 Hobbit. Ha, 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 ho, ho, Hobbit is what I should be saying.
Okay.
Got me thinking about gifts. It's time to start. It's getting pretty close, though. I mean, we're a couple weeks out here.
That's right.
Especially by the time this airs. You got to be thinking about that silent night.
You do.
And you don't want to be leaving people silent in a bad way. You want to be leaving them shocked and glad at the gift that you've come up with and blown their mind with. You need to head over to weirdleatherandmead.com. You need to buy a couple of Unexpected Podcast exclusive leather coasters from our man Travis Santaman Sigler. He works out of the Weird Leather Works and Meadery in Oregon. He's an incredible human being, a master of leatherworks. Go to the website, use the promo code UPWYRD, UPWYRD. You get a coaster for $10, free shipping. That's a beautiful little stocking stuffer you can throw in. Something you could treat yourself with.
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with that. Santa Claus does that too,
Absolutely.
Comes down your chimney and eats all your cookies. So pull a Santa Claus this Christmas. Buy yourself a coaster.
Well, why aren't you working for Coke? Why is it Coke hired you to?
So I'm going to make another little plug here. Okay. I don't know if I should be saying this, Travis, but I did it before. I'm going to say it again. If you want some custom top secret project work, maybe you want a cosplay outfit, you got a couple grand to spend or whatever it costs, I don't know. Yeah. Or you've just been saving and you want something really well done. You want to look like real Aomer out there when you go to these conventions. You got to get a hold of Travis and his buddy Keith. They work more on the leather side. And they can do this custom stuff. Hit them up, go to their website, hit them up, and they can bring almost anything to life. If it involves leather and creation, they can do it. We also want to say thank you to all of you on behalf of Travis and Taylor, because that Kickstarter goal for their meadery has been met. They got some really cool designs they've been sending, T-shirts, logos, things like that. So they're going to be up in business really, really soon. I think we might have to either have our buddy Matt bring us some mead in person, or we're going to have some shipped out to us, because I think it'd be pretty cool. Once Crotch Fruit number 2 is out and I can drink again.
Absolutely.
Sipping here, enjoying some mead.
That'd be fantastic.
During the book club.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe in a horn.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe in a horn.
They got some cool things coming there. Absolutely.
That's true. Guys, don't forget Santa Claus employs elves, so we want to keep him in business. So thank you for that.
Wow,
Bing
awesome.
Crosby.
Yeah. Well done. I like it.
Imagine naming your son Bing.
No, I could not. Actually. That's hilarious.
I'm gonna name him Bing.
Hey, you know what's funny is we are just now to quit council. You would have thought
that was fast, ain't it?
You would have thought that was quick counsel. You would have thought that was table of contents.
That's table of contents.
So
there's a lot of content to
who
this.
Who is running the? I mean, who is timing us? Who is?
I can't remember who brought that up though.
Someone needs to time it out and see what's the longest quick counsel.
I should have looked this up before. Someone in the group brought this up last week.
Yeah,
and they said, "Gosh, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to find your name. I'm going to say it next week."
Yeah,
you said every time we do quick counsel, this is the longest quick counsel we've ever done.
Yeah,
it is. And it's funny how every time we say that,
this one will be.
This one might be.
Always trying to break the record.
Yeah, let's go through it real quick. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Moving on to drop news.
Cool. Anything else? Okay, good.
Not really. I'm doing.
No, actually, I'm doing fantastic. So thanks for asking.
This is with a lot of cool energy. We actually had some time. So usually we just kind of get right into it.
Yeah.
And tonight we've had some time to just sort of. We didn't do Discord before because that's a Wednesday night we're recording this.
Yeah, got school early in the morning testing.
Oh gosh, we're gonna be destroyed.
It's okay.
This is a couple late nights back to back for me.
Yeah.
What's
it? Yeah.
So we got to just let the mics roll and just stuff flew off the tongue and we were just kind of riffing, bebopping and skibbity dooping.
Yeah.
Doing our thing.
Yeah.
Like the old days, man.
Right.
Like the old days. Like back in January, bro. It's almost been a year.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So here's another thing. Do you guys want to see something special for like an anniversary of our first book club meeting?
Yeah.
I mean, Tracy down at the carryout wants a video.
I think we could.
Could we do that? Maybe let's do that one. Our anniversary episode. We'll always maybe do a little video. We'll see.
You can see I absolutely think that'd be great. Kind of to see the. Yeah. What we'll do is we'll set up a camera over each of our shoulders, get a little camera shot action.
Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
Style.
You know what I'm saying? Could you imagine? Let's get him out here.
He would have a ball.
Set up the shot for us, Peter.
So this is a podcast.
All right, yes, a podcast. But what we're going to do is we're going to have the table sort of explode, okay? And the computer's going to come right by your head and take your ear off, and your head's going to be spilling open, okay? The other one...
He doesn't talk that high pitch.
Okay.
But speaking of Peter Jackson, let's get into dropping some memes. Would you like to do
that? So basically, according to Reddit, which is the most authentic...
Isn't Reddit doesn't stand for really... Extremely, definitely, double definitely.
It is true.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
It true.
Yeah.
It true. Yeah. So most reliable source out there, basically, I think. No, and we're not making. I mean, there's actually the Reddit community seems to. I mean, a lot of times
I don't really know anything about it.
A lot of times, depending on who the user is and if they're an admin or depending on what level they're at, or just if they're sharing an article from somewhere else on Reddit. So we don't know. Maybe there is actually an article out there about PJ coming back into the...
He just can't make up his damn mind, man.
Yeah, he can't. And it's sort of...
I don't blame him for.
Right.
It'd be hard.
He might want to be willing to help out with the script. He might be willing to look it over if they send it to him. And that's according to, again, just somebody who posted that in the group. And we thank you for doing that because we're trying to track down all the information we can on that. But it's scarce. So
it is. And I just real quick, that was posted today, I think.
Was it? Okay.
There was a quick comment, and I don't remember who said it, but it was just like, no thanks. You had your chance, or you had your go. Let's move on. We need some fresh hands.
Yeah, and that might
Which
not
we
even...
talked about.
Yeah, and full disclosure, and we're not we have no idea whether that's true or not. It looks like maybe Metro .uk might have been someone who was involved in the...
Well, here's the other thing, too, Ezra.
Telling of it, I don't know.
There hasn't been a whole lot of fresh news about the show, and any chance they can...
Sure.
He's doing press junkets right now for Mortal Engines.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I'm sure that...
that question's coming up.
Right, sure. Yeah. And they're going to press them over and over again. Would you be interested? Could you be interested? Would you possibly? In what universe?
Absolutely.
And they're going to take a snippet and go, oh, here. And then, if you're working for the show or whatever, you have vested interest in that show being popular, they're going to bring it up in the news and make it a talking point again. Is Peter Jackson, will he, won't he? Will he return to Miss Love?
Well, and we are closely involved, Lane and I, with the show.
Right.
And so we are kind of...
We just got off the phone with McKay.
We can't really, say anymore. So, all right. So that's that.
Guys, actually, his real name is McKay and my real name is Payne. We're writing the show.
Could you imagine?
That's my new fake Facebook name.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
Still no release date or new news on the Tolkien biopic. But like I said, 5 months now? It'll be out. So get ready for it. That is an inside tidbit I've had.
Mm-hmm.
We're already in other corners of Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Wonderful goodies in the Facebook group. Ezra mentioned a couple of you guys who are posting and leaving us great things. I need to get back to one of those a week in a snapshot thing. I will get back to doing that. There's just so much to
Yeah, Morgan Black
summarize.
Great memes, great things. Josh Adam in here posting a couple solid things. Sarah Jean, let's see, Joshua, just shouting out a couple people here as I see them. Brian.
And guys, we're seeing new names
all the time.
I mean, it feels like every day.
Please welcome, those of you who have been here since the beginning. Welcome everybody in.
Who was I think Chase put something out a couple days ago. Just said, "Welcome to all the new uppers. We love you. We're glad to have you." And Chase, thank you for doing that. Sometimes we get so busy reading, we forget to put those out there. And
it's
honestly gotten.
We're looking
so many
for those people to help us, though, because we need.
There's so many people coming in that I can't keep up with. Hey, welcome. Hey, welcome. Hey, welcome. I feel like every time our phone goes off for Facebook, it's 3 new people requesting to join. Approve. We try to approve as fast as we can, and then. Man, it's just crazy.
Well, guys, here's the thing. I Lane and I, we've been talking here recently just about what has happened because we're reflecting on this year coming up, and I want people to be proud that they're in our group.
Yeah,
we're
proud you're in the group.
Yeah, and so it's like we're proud that we're associated with you.
Yeah.
So
it's an honor.
I always look at that group and I'm like, man, that is so much goodness happening. It's so cool. Yeah. So when you look at other people who come and they find the podcast or they find us talking about this, I want to do it justice, and we're just a couple hobbits, and we've always said that. We always will be, and I think that's what's great about it and what can be attractive. And I want everyone to kind of keep that mentality and that positivity because, I know you would be surprised at the people who come across, various podcasts who are in, the Tolkien verse. So you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
But anyways,
all we've done is we've thrown the doors to the Dragon open.
That's it.
You guys have flooded in, and you've started the taps. You've
absolutely
kicked the fire on. You got the grill going.
You're telling the stories,
you're singing
by the
songs.
That's
absolutely,
right.
And it's that's a pretty cool visual for what we got going on.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for all of that. Special one because we've been in mystery and just kind of. I didn't know where to look for this, but we've played snippets of this newer audiobook, right? This project that this kid did, different voices, music from the films, sound effects,
dramatized
soundscapes, dramatized an audiobook, which is rare. You either have an audiobook or you have a dramatization, especially with a book this length. It's rare to have one that is. I'm guessing this is unabridged. I don't know. It's pretty dang close.
Yeah,
and also has that element of. You're listening to a radio play kind of deal. But Mitchell posted the full audiobook in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Okay. It's on Tokybook, TOKYbook.com. And just go in there and search The Fellowship of the Ring. Mm-hmm. Search The Two Towers.
Yeah.
Search The Return of the King. And they will all come up. You click on them, and every chapter is there, bud.
That's awesome.
Every chapter. So now that whole mystery we had of catching the snippets on YouTube, now we can go and listen to the entire thing in its entirety. Yeah, it's a little redundant what I just said, but it's out there, and so now you guys know. So really, really cool.
Yes.
Also, the holidays are coming up. It's a great time to go to the cinema and check out a flick or two. We've got some really cool movies that have been out or are coming out that have to do with some people who are and have been involved in the Tolkien universe. They Shall Not Grow Old. So this is the World War I documentary that Peter Jackson is releasing. You've heard us kind of talk about it in passing, but what he's done is he's used state-of-the-art technology to kind of update and bring new life to old footage, old audio clips.
Oh yeah,
in a creating a beautiful documentary that is in the voices of the soldiers who went through World War I.
Yeah.
So relevant because it's Peter Jackson, but also relevant because our author, J.R.R. Tolkien, started writing these stories in those trenches. Mm-hmm. He found the inspiration and the beginning of specifically Middle-earth, during this trench warfare. So it would be, we've had people like Val Homan has brought up this. She always reminds us that, these, go back to his experiences in war. We're reading about a war.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of Tolkien's experiences coming out in that. This chapter, we see it, right? We were confronted with Saruman and his persuasive voice, and how many wars have been started because of the persuasive words of someone who can, who can rile an entire nation.
Get up there.
To do things that they wouldn't otherwise.
Get up on that mountain.
Yeah, boy. Don't call me Moses. Come on. Really, really cool. It's actually being released December 17th. So my question is, Ezra, when are we going?
Probably December 16th.
All right, we're gonna go at the stroke of midnight.
Sure. Yeah.
So we're gonna go to this. We maybe we'll do a little short reaction podcast or episode or something that we could kind of talk to, because World War I is I know bits and pieces of World War I, mostly through like high school history class. I had a really good high school history class teacher, but I'm not as familiar with it as World War II or conflicts in the Middle East. So really looking forward to. It's going to be a very emotional film to go see.
Yeah.
Also, Ian McKellen playing the part is that documentary on him, and I thought it was new. I apologize, guys. That came out last November, but I think it might be available on some streaming services. So check that out if you can. I really want to watch that and take that in. Another one that's hitting the theaters on December 14th is Mortal Engines. This is based on a 4-book series that I've never read. I didn't even know it was a 4-book series based on Philip Reeves's novels, and it's a Peter Jackson film.
Oh, is it really? I didn't know it was Peter. Okay, cool.
So the gist of it is there's these wars in the future, and civilizations have kind of become like almost machines that eat other cities, and it's sort of that's the gist of it. It's not it's not very detailed, but they become giant predators, cities on wheels almost. They devour everything in its path. So almost like cities themselves. It's almost like urban sprawl has become this individual kind of thing, monster. So go check that out too. Also, rest in peace to Jeff Murphy. He was a legendary New Zealand film director. He was also the guy in the orange chair who helped direct for Lord of the Rings, worked with Peter Jackson. You'll guys remember from the appendices the funny snippet where Billy Boyd noticed that he was always in this orange chair, and he was always like, "Yeah, it's probably like from his first job directing. It's probably real sentimental, bringing that in every time he's filming." And he asked him one time, he was like, that must have been from your, I think it might have been Dom Monahan too, from your first directing job or whatever, right? And he just said, "No. They just asked me what chair I wanted, and that one looked comfy." And there's hilarious shots of, I think at one point it was helicoptered in, and there's this helicopter with just this ugly orange office chair they brought over him. Like you see someone cutting into the earth to make a flat spot so he could sit down in that chair. So he was but he did a lot of sort of groundbreaking, and I'm not familiar with them, but just legendary films in New Zealand. So
nice.
Tip of the cap to him.
Rest in peace.
We have poll results as well. So we just kind of said who got more hasty this last chapter. Was it the Hjorns or the Ents? We had 104 of you vote. 31% said the Hjorns were more hasty. 69 of you overwhelmingly said, 69% of you said Ents got hastier. What did you think, man?
Well, I think it makes sense, right? I mean, it's the Ents who we get to talk with. They're the ones we get to engage with. So, they brag about not being hasty. So
that's true.
And they were rather hasty.
So did you vote for the Ents?
I don't actually remember who I voted for.
Vote on this one, boy.
I don't know if I did, actually.
I voted for Hjorns.
It's a quick turnaround this week for us.
It has been only a couple days.
Typically, you give me an extra couple days.
That's true. I voted for Hjorns because I just figured, man, they're sleepier.
Well,
they're kind of more.
They get there in a hurry,
dormant,
don't they?
And they're running.
Don't they get there in a hurry?
Yeah, boy.
At Helm's Deep,
yes, they do. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
So I said, they're both pretty hasty, but I got to go with those Hjorns. But you're right. The irony that Ents are never hasty, and they're acting this way is actually a good thing.
Something.
We also have a premium Patreon profile.
Yeah.
So we need to whistle for all Goldberry,
don't we?
We do.
We need to get her down here. She might be down by the river. Get a little call for her.
Yeah.
Goldberry, Goldberry, Tom is calling you. Goldberry, Goldberry, come interview.
Hello.
You guys missed that golden voice, didn't you?
It's beautiful. So, Goldberry, we are, who do we have today?
We are going to talk with Erica Barnes, or in other words, read her responses. And Erica has sent us 3 questions back. Do you want me to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, let's just
We
hit
know
these.
Erica. We've met Erica.
We have met Erica.
Yeah, we know
and
her on
Erica
a personal...
made us
Yes.
a beautiful stuffed animal Arwen for Winnie.
For Winnie. It's very sweet.
Isn't that amazing? She brought it to the unexpected or long expected party.
Oh,
Doink.
my.
Messed that up.
You did.
Why haven't I seen this?
I think you did, but a wizard, doesn't...
Sees what he sees.
Yeah.
He sees what he
Yeah,
sees.
you know?
He sees.
But I like that in her message. She said, "Hi, guys, and Sarah. I made it." All right. The first question. That would be the ornament that Winnie has been playing with that just kicked over the ground. Anyways. Okay, Erica, you're in a tough spot and only one character can come to your aid. Who do you call and why? She said, "I would pick Aragorn.
Me too, Erica.
The man is a problem solver, gets stuff done, and is willing to go the extra mile for pretty much everyone. I appreciate those qualities in a person."
Yeah, so I wouldn't pick him, just to be clear.
I thought you were saying you wouldn't go the extra mile for someone.
Well, that's that too.
Hey.
But it's also interesting because your favorite character would pick that guy.
Get out of here. I'm not having a debate and, I'm not doing this with you right now. Okay.
Fallacy.
I love it. All
Anyways,
right.
Erica, wonderful.
Thank
Okay.
you. The next question was, do you own any memorabilia from the films? And if so, what? If not, what's on your wish list? She does have something. She said the movies came out while I was in high school, and the school library had a bunch of those bookmarks with the one ring attached to them. Bonus, I picked the Eowyn bookmark because she's the best. I'm going to pause for just a second. Do high schools still give out bookmarks? Because they should. That's wonderful. From movies.
Well, Ezra would know, wouldn't he?
Yeah, you would think I would know. You would think. No, I guess they don't.
If they don't, they should, because that's pretty awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Don't
From
know
the movies.
This is a plug for Roland Tangi. Start offering bookmarks.
Yeah. What's going on up there?
Okay, and she said,
What's wrong with you? It's fine.
I wore that ring for months until it started to turn my finger green. I think the ring is still in my jewelry box, just waiting to turn more unsuspecting fingers green. More recently, I went to a certain party in the Shire of America, woo woo, and won a totally sweet Frodo figurine, courtesy of Mike Charles. I also broke down and ordered the Lord of the Rings loot crate. I'm really excited to see what I get. Isn't that what you received?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Mark Charles brought those.
No, I'm
The-
sorry, the
Guys,
loot crate.
what is a loot crate?
Oh,
no,
a
we got a Weta box.
Oh, okay.
I've been meaning to ask this question. What is a loot crate?
Well,
I'm an old guy.
Well, she said she's excited to see what she gets, so maybe it is.
Just random boxes with a theme?
You guys want me to tell you?
Do you know?
Do you know?
Do you guys want me to tell you?
Yeah.
No.
Because I know. All right.
No.
So in The Hobbit, all right, when they go and they bury their little treasure
This is
box
bullcrap. He's making this up.
full of loot.
Next question.
Okay.
But that's probably the idea.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Right.
I think
It's
it's the
random.
thing. They have like themes, right? Like there's Star Wars loot
Erica,
crate.
get back to us. Let us know
You just cut me off
what
a
you
little bit.
get.
Hey, I think
in
she's
your
been
loot crate.
posting actually on her Instagram some of her loot crate stuff. I think. So
Is it?
I didn't know that was.
Is it like a box that you get every month?
Yeah, I
that
think with
gets something?
fandom stuff. Yeah, I didn't think she. I was wondering where she was getting that stuff actually. So now I
We
understand.
need to go look then. To the Instagram, Batman.
Jiminy.
Question 3. Do you have a favorite spot to read Tolkien? She said, I like to listen to the audiobook so that I can multitask while reading. I mostly listen while running at one of the parks near my house. The park is beautiful and has trails that run through the woods. Fleming Creek is babbling away in the background, and there are a ton of animals that are more used to humans than they should be. The deer don't run away when they see me coming. It's less green now since winter is coming, but I feel like the ambiance of running in a forest makes the story more real.
Wow.
You were just Goldberry was just sort of painting that picture with words, and I feel like I was there. I feel like I was at Fleming Creek. Did you, Ezra?
Yeah, I did, and I also felt like, is it a good thing or a bad thing that the animals are,
Maybe they need to change the name to Radagast Grove,
Not
because
sure.
you feel like Radagast when you're there.
Oh, so that would make it a good thing. Good job.
I mean, I would. Don't you want the animal?
Yeah, it was good.
Unless it's maybe a big old bobcat.
At this
Yeah.
point, are we
Yeah.
4D listening?
Yeah, are we?
If we're in a forest, we smell the smells.
Uh-huh.
What if we start doing this? Does it become ASMR?
That's not gonna
Erica,
help us.
wonderful. I love that. That's pretty. I would never have thought to do that. Read an audiobook while running. It's pretty awesome.
Actually, I've tried to.
You listen to audiobooks.
I do.
Right?
I was about to say I tried to run once in a while. Maybe take a walk.
But Erica, when she was in the Shire of America, we met her.
Yeah.
For the first time when she was running.
Well, after the run.
After her run.
Yeah, Goldberry. Yeah. Let's be honest. I mean, I wasn't running down the road.
But she did go on multiple runs.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
And I think that I think the trail at first kind of threw her off because
did you send her down to the trail?
Not a loop. Yeah.
Oh,
but
okay.
I think it started growing on her.
Yeah.
That Amanda Trail it's got some beautiful views.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, goodness. Well, that's awesome. Okay.
Thank you so much, Erica.
Yeah, thanks, Erica. So that was really cool. So we will have more of those coming up soon. Thanks, Goldberry.
You're welcome. See you later.
All right. Well, Goldberry's off. That was pretty awesome to hear Erica's answer to those questions. Yeah. Remember, guys, we have a lot of those coming up. And if you become a patron at what level?
It was the Valar, and we also have, I think that's the Valar. I'm pretty sure it also might be the Maiar as well.
Okay, so if you're in those two tiers, or if you want to join those two tiers, that's just kind of one of the cool perks. We get to know you in a kind of featured way every couple of weeks. And
we've got the schedule here we're working on, with those guys to get them in some of the appendices stuff. And full disclosure, by the way, just so you guys know that the appendices is just raw. That's what I wanted to kind of know that.
It is an after hours type.
Yes. So
deal.
Just so you guys know, that's full disclosure going forward.
We are hobbits, and
sometimes
they get a little wild. You got Merry and Pippin, and
we get carried away, don't we? We get in trouble.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys recall, but if you're watching the movies, if you're reading these books, they end up on tables dancing around quite a bit.
Absolutely.
And saying
playing in the fireworks.
Yeah.
Right.
So and having to clean the dishes up afterwards. Yeah. So believe us, we have had to do that too.
Yeah.
Make sure all the lights are turned off.
That's right. We will. So, all right, friends. Now it is time to dive into the reread.
Wow. That was a voice almost
Where did that come
as
from?
melodic as Saruman's.
Yeah, right.
Whatever you say, man. I'm
His is more like,
you.
Into the reread, boys. It's kind of like, what happened to Saruman?
You heard of the minute color? I can't even do that.
How do like an old boy? It's like, I think of like an older, I don't know, like a
guys. Ezra, so he always goes on about all these voices I do. Man, I tell you what. Before we recorded, he was busting out these voices I've never heard. I was dying laughing.
But I just can't call them up like on cue. I just
you
can't.
just did right there.
I don't know.
Give me Saruman.
Sometimes I get kind of crazy. No, I can't do it. Now it's gone.
I'll be grandma.
It's gone. Saruman. It's gone. I don't even. It'll come back. It'll come back.
Got me locked up here in Norfolk.
And then you're going to stay there. You're going to stay there. All right, here we go.
I'm getting rid of your jewel.
Man, that's a big part, isn't it?
Well, this is interesting, guys. So we get together and we're like, well, this
go
is,
ahead and tell
again,
them.
very frank, too.
You go ahead and tell them.
We'll read it, and we might come to a chapter like, not much happened here, huh? Yeah. All right.
Sometimes.
Or we come in and we're like,
so much
man, holy, is this going to have to be 3 episodes? We don't know. But this week, we've always been on the same page.
Yeah.
This week, Ezra's like, so you think what I'm thinking of the chapter? I was like, a lot happened. And as I'm saying, a lot happened. Ezra goes, nothing really happened, dude. And we were like, what? And I thought he was joking. He thought I was joking.
Yeah, I thought you were messing with me.
And that's the cool thing about this book club, right? Is, everyone's talked about how this chapter was really meaningful to me. I love this chapter. My favorite is, the very beginning, a long expected party.
Yeah.
Nothing really happens. You know what I mean? Stuff does, but it's not, that's not most people's favorite chapter. It's a lot of Hobbity stuff. It's a lot of getting the story going, picking up, bridging the gap between the Hobbit. And, so
that was interesting.
It was interesting. Yeah.
So it'll be kind of neat to see what we think here.
Sure.
I might, it might actually work out well because you'll get, buried and dug into those details and I'll say, all right, move on.
Nice. You'll be my Gandalf.
All right. In recap, though, let's talk. Merry and Pippin get this chance to they see the hunters.
Yeah.
And they get a chance to meet with their friends again and tell a good tale.
Yeah.
I was thinking, actually, I have a couple students, and I wish I could shout them out, but I can't. But they listen. Surprisingly.
No way, man.
Yes, actually.
That's sweet.
And so they will know who they are. I'll just
know thyself and
DS
to thine own
and LB
self be true.
DS and LB, and they are great storytellers. tellers.
It's awesome.
Great storytellers. They just they really yes. Also, let's see here.
Are they like your Merry and Pippin in your life?
KR. I just messed it up. So sorry, K. But yeah, no, great, fantastic storytellers. And we were talking about that last week, and it dawned on me. I was like, we're often
should have added them to the list, huh?
Yeah, I mean, so. Anyways, it made me think just about Pippin and Merry getting their chance. They have an audience, you know, and they get a chance to kind of tell their story and talk about where they've come, and fill in us on all those details. So, anyways, all that happens, and they basically set the stage. We find out with the Ents, how they have Saruman and how Grima showed up, and they're all up in there in Orthanc.
That's right.
So
that's right.
But all right, now this week.
So kind of what we're getting into is we have this confrontation with Saruman. Gandalf says, I got one more thing to do here. I got to go deal with this wizard. So, and the really cool thing, the gist of this chapter is we kind of, for the first time, get to interact with Saruman himself. Mm-hmm. We've heard a lot of people tell tales about him. We've heard people tell of interactions they've had with him and retell that story. Now we're getting to see him in the flesh. We get to see specifically the power of his voice. Mm-hmm. And just, I love this chapter. I was blown away by this chapter because Tolkien, the way he describes the power of his voice, it's not how you'd think.
Yeah,
it's not the way you'd think when you hear, this wizard has a very powerful voice. The way he describes it and all the nuances, and how it's based on it. I don't know. I think we think sometimes, man, his voice sounds so beautiful. That's a powerful voice, or her voice is so easy to listen to. But the crazy thing here is we see this is an instrument of Saruman's. Mm-hmm. It can get away from him. He can lose control of it, and he can let this other energy come out that almost ruins the gift of his voice. So it's spell-like, it's magical, and what it does to the listeners is pretty incredible too. How we learn the details of its different effect on the listener depending on who the listener is.
Yeah,
like that was the part that just blew me away too. I'm like, and how, the potential power of it taking root and destroying someone and them having no ability to stop it that's frightening. That's an amazing thing.
I think it's more so that the knowledge of like going into something and having heard beforehand that there is power in this and there's seduction in this voice is actually what kind of could save you, because I think that the true craft and the true art of the I guess what gives it more power is that you wouldn't even know. You have no idea.
Sure.
There is no tell.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing about the voice that makes it stand out in any way that you're like, when I think back,
it
fondly,
sounds kind and welcoming, and
I can almost imagine though, like just that I don't know, the way that it weaves is it's a power that it's super strong. Yeah. But there's just you have no idea.
But there's some amazing things because even though they know though, man, even though they know,
all right, yeah,
there are times where all of them are convinced.
I know.
Aragorn himself, the only one, who isn't affected, is Gandalf.
It's crazy.
I mean, that's crazy. Like even it's just it's a frightening thing, and you can see how it's a huge weapon. Yeah. So he has this conflict with, or he has this, he and Gandalf. There's this conflict, right? Yeah. There's this interaction, and eventually, the gist of it is Saruman's cast out of the Order. He's banished by Gandalf. He gives him a chance to come back. He says, you can redeem yourself. You can be free. Yeah. And Saruman says, free. Yeah, kind of scoffing at it. Yeah. Says, you mean free to come down there and that's where the freedom ends, essentially. And Gandalf says, when I say free, I mean free. Mm-hmm. And you'd have my protection. Yeah. What an amazing character Gandalf is to offer that. He obviously decides to he's too proud to accept that. And then, it's Grima who's sort of the ending of the chapter is Grima casting this item down, and we discover this is an item of great importance and interest to Gandalf. Yeah. Pippin picks it up. Gandalf says, hey, give that to me. And then you've got Gandalf kind of asking Treebeard to pour the waters back in. Yeah. To make this a prison forever. Yep.
Lake Orthanc.
Lake Orthanc.
So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So let's dive into some of these details here and see what we can pull out. So there's Gandalf and Theoden and his men, said Legolas. Let us go meet them. So remember, they were off kind of discussing various things, and as we said, we're picking up on Pippin, telling his story, and they see their what do they call them? Like the last chapter, like the wise, right? The wise are like the greater of the party went off to have a conversation, and they're kind of making a joke that here we are still
the leftovers, right? The flotsam and jetsam. Yeah,
right. So they head down the from the gates there to Orthanc, going slowly, for the flagstones were cracked and slimed.
Yeah.
Wow. The riders, seeing them approach, halted under the shadow of the rock and waited for them. Gandalf rode forward to meet them. And basically just kind of goes on here to talk about what he and Treebeard had discussed, and that he's hoping that the companions are well rested and refreshed and ready to go, because there's still an errand here. Yeah. There's still more to kind of do. So, and Mary just says, it's that their discussion has ended, that they've had their talk. And ended in smoke. Is that what he says?
Yeah.
It began and ended in smoke.
Yeah.
So a good time. I think that's how every conversation should go.
Yeah.
So they are. Let's see here. So they move on, and Gimli. They talk about whether or not this is the paragraph I think it's important to kind of read here. He says, "I have now at last a last task to do before I go. I must pay Saruman a farewell visit. Dangerous and probably useless, but it must be done.
Yeah.
Those of you who wish to come along with me, beware, and do not jest. This is not the time for it."
Yeah.
And so, it's funny. He's coming up on this happy, merry kind of, they're probably in high spirits, and it's like things seem lighthearted. We've won.
Yeah, you're on a victory
couple battles.
battlefield.
Yeah, a couple essentially. You've shown up here to Isengard, and it's captured and in the hands of the Ents and Treebeard. But when it's time for jesting is over, we're going to face another wizard.
Yeah,
I mean, a big deal.
Yeah, and you're right. It is significant too there that Gandalf he says don't mess around. This is serious. So you're right. He does even give them that warning, and even with that warning, man.
Well, Gimli, I don't know if Gimli's jesting here or not, but he says that he wishes to see him to learn if he really looks like you. I don't know. That Gimli doesn't seem like a very good reason to go. Does he just want to go? Are they just intrigued? You just want to see?
And I'm thinking
he's trying to solve that riddle,
right? And I go back to that moment too. He was the first one to see that stranger appear on the fire.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so maybe part of it is just pure curiosity. He's like, I want to make sure that wasn't actually Gandalf. When he's telling us that it wasn't him, I want to make sure that that was Saruman, that he's telling me the truth, around the fire. Just out of curiosity, right?
Well, and what's great is you get this a little tidbit. I love any time you can find a trace of what wizards can do and their power.
Yes.
Because he says that, to your eyes, Gimli, he could look like me. He could make himself look like me.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
And perhaps he could make him look like, himself look like whoever he wanted to look like, really. Their whole idea is that they are disguised as old men.
Right. And the other cool thing about that, too, is that plays into the whole Saruman the many-colored.
Yeah.
Right? Can appear differently to lots of different people. I also know that whole idea is based on the fact that he was white and he was broken, and when you break light or white, it breaks into these many colors. You put light through a prism and you see all the colors and all that stuff. It's broken. He's a broken wizard. But also just that idea that, he has many shades. He has many hues. Right. He can appear many different ways. So, yeah, pretty cool.
Now, the problem is, they've been here for a bit, and they can't get him to come out anyways.
Right.
So he's afraid of something. He won't show himself because of the Ents.
Right.
And the horns.
Those tree demons.
Yeah. And so Gandalf kind of knows that, I think. And I think, their intentions are, they don't have good intentions. We'll just put it like that.
No.
With Saruman.
Tree killer. He's the tree killer.
Exactly. Yeah. And boy, if old Quickbeam could have got a hold of him there. Good.
And if anybody could have, it would have been Quickbeam.
Right.
Because we know how hasty he can be.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Damn near speedy.
Yeah. Gandalf has convinced the Ents to kind of fall back out of sight.
Yeah.
Right. Hopefully, we can get Saruman to step out and speak with us. And Pippin kind of wonders, is that why? I mean, is that wise? What are we going to see here? You know, are we pouring more fire out? Are there more devices?
Is he going to shoot at us?
Is he going to shoot us?
Yeah.
Cast a spell from afar?
Yeah.
And Gandalf kind of says, you know, the last one there, yeah, possibly. More likely that he might, cast a spell on you if you go up there with sort of a, what does it say, a light?
Light spirit.
Yep.
Or light heart. Yeah.
Again, was what he's telling them to kind of harden themselves and be ready.
Yeah.
Because I think he's going to play on those emotions, right? He says, beware his voice.
Yeah.
You know, he gives them that warning. Goodness. Okay.
We get a really cool description here of Orthanc, which we've gotten kind of in pieces. I think originally, right, we caught a sort of vague description of it from Frodo's dream, right? When Frodo had the dream of this tower and the moon and a figure being carried away by an eagle,
right?
Which we know was Gandalf and Gwahir going to rescue him from Orthanc. It was black, and the rock gleamed as if it were wet. The many faces of the stone had sharp edges as though they had been newly chiseled. A few scorings and small flake-like splinters near the base were all the marks that it bore of the fury of the Ents. So we get the idea, just hard, black. The best description we've, and the way we've seen it represented is obsidian, right? That volcanic obsidian rock. Also interesting too, like how the tower really reflects who Saruman is. The many faces, right? The many colored. He's the way he tries to manipulate people. Who is this guy? Who is he?
Yeah.
At his core, right? On the eastern side, in the angle of two piers, there was a great door high above the ground, and over it was a shuttered window opening upon a balcony hedged with iron bars. Up to the threshold of the door, there mounted a flight of 27 broad stairs, hewn by some unknown art of the same black stone. This was the only entrance to the tower, but many tall windows were cut with deep embrasures in the climbing walls, for up they peered like little eyes in the sheer faces of the horns. So just a beautiful description of this imposing fortress.
Yeah, well, there's power in this place as well. I think at one point Gandalf kind of hints that he could hole up here and he'd be fine. I mean, it's something. It's a good place of protection.
Yeah,
you know. So I can't think of any other power. I mean, like a force, a raw force that is like the Ents that could do. They can't do any damage to
right.
this
If
thing.
Mother Nature can't destroy, a structure like that, then probably nothing can. And you get the idea too that this is almost like, it almost seems like it was carved out of one piece of stone, kind of whittled away by these master craftsmen. If that's true, it would be almost impossible to destroy.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is too, like the Ents crush stones, and like they're able to kind of, so their roots can split rock. They can,
right. We saw them last chapter breaking them like breadcrumbs.
Yes.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
Magical place.
Interesting, but so Gandalf says he's going to go up. He's been to Orthanc and he kind of knows its peril. He knows what he's going to see there, and King Theoden also decides to go with him.
Come with you.
I think he says, "I'm old. What peril is there for me, really?"
Right.
Which is interesting. I like, but he brings Éomer with him, right?
That's right.
And Gandalf says that Aragorn shall come with me.
Yeah.
So they each kind of have their.
Their king.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of neat to see those go up, and Gimli and Legolas both represent their own kind, elves and dwarves, and so they want to be represented there as well. I actually thought at one point when I was rereading this, I was like, are the hobbits going to step up?
Yeah.
But then Pippin's kind of like, should we even be here?
Yeah, I know.
It's like, are we too close?
That's right.
We might want to step back.
And almost he's almost kind of saying like, what do we even come? No one wants us here anyway.
Yeah.
He goes on to say like, we're not even wanted, let's just head out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there may be something there.
There might be something there.
Yeah.
It is interesting.
When you get into the next chapter, the connection with Pippin and
sure.
Yeah. So
sure.
But anyways, yeah, so he's there, and Gandalf finally he calls out. He's summoning Saruman forward, and he cries in that loud voice, that commanding voice, which is very important. A very commanding voice.
Yeah.
What's he say? Saruman, come forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Doesn't get an answer, at first. Yeah.
No, he's hesitant to come out, right? Mm-hmm. And it's actually Wormtongue who shows up. So, and he's there wasting the time. But, one of the things, too, Theoden now kind of gets to, he sees, Wormtongue and sees really, truly where his allegiances always were.
Yeah.
And which is interesting because that also, too, will show you the power of Saruman's voice. The king, the fact that later on that he hesitates in his speech and that maybe they were almost convinced, and he's seen Grima. He's seen Grima. Sorry, I always say Grima. You've got me saying it all sorts of different ways. But he sees him kind of up in the, up there associated with Saruman, and it's sort of like, well, this is the guy who's been giving me this counsel.
It'd be really hard to see, wouldn't it? I mean, that would be. Yeah. I don't know.
It's his counselor.
Yeah, and almost like a painful reminder. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Should confirm what Gandalf has been telling him, and you put your, you've allied with the right wizard,
right?
Okay, and then.
But isn't it amazing how his words have almost everyone convinced of the opposite?
Yeah.
Saruman's words in the future here.
I think he's also kind of testing that power. I think he wants to see just how pervasive, or how persuasive, thank you. Yeah. His words can be.
Yes.
So if I can get my words right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got.
Well, I just have, the whole next paragraph, just the description of his voice and the initial hearing of it. Because for some of these characters, it's the first time ever hearing Saruman's voice. And that's the other thing, too, is how did Gandalf, did he just tell those close to him about the power of his voice? Did he tell all 25 of the party there? I don't know. I mean, that might be a detail that's left out on purpose because it affects everyone differently. So the window closed, they waited. Suddenly, another voice spoke, low and melodious, its very sound an enchantment. Those who listened unwarily to that voice could seldom report the words that they had heard. And if they did, they wondered, for little power remained in them. Mostly they remembered only that it was a delight to hear the voice speaking. All that it said seemed wise and reasonable, and desire awoke in them by swift agreement to seem wise themselves. When others spoke, they seemed harsh and uncouth by contrast. And if they gainsaid the voice, anger was kindled in the hearts of those under the spell. For some, the spell lasted only while the voice spoke to them, and when it spoke to another, they smiled, as men do who see through a juggler's trick while others gape at it. For many, the sound of the voice alone was enough to hold them enthralled. But for those whom it conquered, the spell endured when they were far away, and ever they heard the soft voice whispering and urging them. But none were unmoved. None rejected its pleas and its commands without an effort of mind and will, so long as its master had control of it. That's wild. Because we also see glimpses where he loses control of his voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's almost like they're awoken from a dream and they see him for who he really is. He composes himself back quickly, and then they're back into it. And they're having to struggle to either fight off this power and see through it, or they're totally captive to it.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? It's just crazy to think a voice as a weapon. A voice as a tool to control and to manipulate and to gain power.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible.
Kind of reminds me of when I speak to myself in the morning in the mirror. It's just one of those.
You're special. You're a good boy. And you're going to make a difference.
And you're lying to me. Okay. But his voice is very seductive. Well, I think it is. That's the result, but that's not the way. Gandalf's sort of letting them know that, and as you say, I don't know if this is just sort of. I'm not sure who this is said to. This is just a description to the reader.
Yeah, this is right. It's really, it's sort of a breakdown of the power of his voice.
Right.
Which is cool that Tolkien devotes like that much time. So not only does he show the effects through this conversation, but he up front says, "Hey, this is how they heard it. This is what it sounded like to them. And then this is also the power it has on..." That paragraph's broken into two chunks. Mm-hmm. The power it has on people. Right. And I have that line underlined, but for those whom it conquered, the spell endured when they were far away, and ever they heard that soft voice whispering and urging to them. Tolkien Gateway pretty much, when describing his voice, implies that it has the power. Some people it takes hold of and never lets go.
Yeah. Okay.
Never, ever lets go.
Wow.
And you got to think, Grimma's pretty close to that.
Absolutely.
I think eventually we see that he overcomes that in the very end.
Mm-hmm.
but he's pretty much under total control. Yeah.
I wonder too if there are other races or groups of people who are more susceptible or easier to kind of, manipulate. I don't know. Just kind of wondered.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe there's a difference there. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Well, we know too, just with I think doesn't Gandalf say, was it last chapter that or was it Aragorn who talks about the fact that Gandalf, Galadriel, Elrond were some of the few who could possibly hear him speak and withstand or not be swayed or be under his spell.
Yeah.
So
and a select few. Yeah.
Okay, so they look up there and basically they hear this this question, this gentle question. That's how it's described. And he says, "Why must you disturb my rest? Will you give me no peace at all by night or by day?" Its tone was that of a kindly heart, aggravated by injuries undeserved.
Yeah.
Almost like he's just like he's been disturbed. Like, come on.
Like we're feeling bad for disturbing him.
Guys,
sorry, guys.
Look, you've already done it. You've been banging on the doors all night, Put an end to this.
Right.
And you're almost like, yeah, you're right. We've been keeping you up.
We're going to head out.
You know what?
You stay here.
Yeah.
We're not even going to make the Ents come back. You just have a clear shot. Get out.
That's our bad. Why have we been banging on your doors all night?
Right. And the other freaky thing too, that this has happened once before. We've seen it around the fire, right, with the 3 hunters on the edge of Fangorn. They looked up astonished, for they heard no sound of his coming. So he's just there. Boom. This dude has a way of sneaking up on you.
Right, there you go. Yeah,
just being there all of a sudden. They saw a figure standing on the rail, looking down upon them. An old man, swathed in a great cloak, the color of which was not easy to tell, for it changed if they moved their eyes or if he stirred.
Yeah.
His face was long, with a high forehead. He had deep, darkling eyes, hard to fathom, though the look that they now bore was grave and benevolent and a little weary. So, feeling bad for this guy. His hair and beard were white, but strands of black still showed about his lips and ears. And then it's Gimli who kind of says to himself, he's taken this view in of Saruman, like and yet unlike.
Yeah. Right, yeah, he's making the comparison, right?
Yeah.
Real quick, I mean, were there any fashion consultants? I mean, like... his cloak, man? I mean, was that in or was that out? I don't.
It seems kind of futuristic, doesn't it?
It really does.
It seems like a future fabric.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking of Marty McFly's hat in Back to the Future 2.
Yeah.
Sort of that like rainbow shimmer, almost like pearlescent.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
like that sheen a pearl has, where you're like, whoa, or oil.
Yeah.
When oil sort of has that
a
gleam of all the colors, you're like, dang, what is he wearing?
Yeah. Gotcha.
You need to get me some threads like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. But, so yeah, he says, but come now, to the soft voice. 2 at least of you I know by name. Gandalf I know too well, to have much hope that he seeks help or counsel here. But you, Theoden. So at first, it just, we know we can't take that. Like, it's funny, he abandons the angle with Gandalf. He doesn't even, he's not even going to approach him with his words.
Not and definitely not first.
Not first. No,
he's like the last resort. I'll go to Gandalf if everyone else
fails.
Yeah. Withstands me, right? Yeah.
Right. So he's talking to Theoden, and he's almost kind of questioning, like, why hasn't King Theoden reached out to him before?
Yeah, I've been
We're
here.
We're neighbors.
Right.
You need a cup of sugar? Come on over.
Right. And actually, it's really interesting. So I did some digging on Saruman because I was like, I don't really know that much about him.
Yeah.
So he was given the keys to Orthanc, kind of sort of manipulated that as well. There were other reasons he went there, but he was there as a defense in the West to help defend and work together with the people of Rohan and Gondor. Right? So it's kind of interesting he's coming at it from this angle. As like a history of...
I see what you're saying.
This is part of my job.
Like why haven't you reached out to me?
Right. This is why I'm here.
Yeah.
This is why I'm at Isengard. Is to help protect Rohan. Help protect Gondor. To act as an advisor.
Interesting. Yeah. Right. And you haven't sought me out, but yet here I find you.
Yeah.
With Gandalf cousin.
Is it yet too late?
Right. Yeah. Is it? Yeah.
Man.
There's a lot going on there. So he says, Theoden opened his mouth as if to speak, but he said nothing.
Yeah. I love this too.
He's rendered speechless.
Yeah, you're thinking like, what is Theoden going to say?
Yeah.
What is he going to do? Is he going to be persuaded? Because he even says stuff like, talking about all the evil counsels that have been beset him. And he says, still I would save you and deliver you from the ruin that draws nigh inevitably if you ride upon this road which you have taken. Indeed, I alone can aid you now. Like, you don't know what Gandalf is getting you into. Gandalf's gotten a lot of people into some bad situations. He's going right into it, Theoden.
Yeah.
He's going right into the heart of Mordor.
Oh, Stormcrow over there.
That's right. He's going to mislead you.
But I can save you. I have a way to protect you and give you good counsel. So
right. And as he's saying these things, remember, Gandalf is standing right there. Silent.
You got to love that part.
Not
like
saying
being the
word.
Gandalf guy. Like
he's that he's so confident. He's just like, this is a test, I think, that these characters need to pass.
Yeah.
And it's also, he's there. He's the safety net.
Yeah.
And he's also, I think, gauging Saruman's power.
Yes. And to play out that, I also think he is, he knows Saruman's disdain. He knows Saruman is, I think later he compares him to a cornered wild beast.
Yeah.
Right. And he knows that he's going to show his hand. And that is his frustration and his insecurities are going to lash out, and it's going to be evident to everyone. And Gandalf will be there as a contrast, right? As this calm, confident, benevolent advisor that he is. And they're going to see that. They're going to be like, well, there's Gandalf. He's not acting like this dude.
Right.
We've never seen him act like this, lashing out at us.
Yeah. Right.
Right. He knows that's going to happen eventually.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, and do you think, too, when we get to the part where he does lash out a little bit, is that his power waning? That he can't keep himself composed?
Great question.
I don't know.
That's a great question.
Because that's what it seems like to me. Like, back in the day, he could probably wordsmith it like no one's business.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And he's so frustrated with and jealous of Gandalf, too.
He's rattled, yeah. Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
So, he's again making this plea there and talking about all the things that Gandalf is doing to Theoden. And basically, also the men around him, though, as with Gandalf's silence and also Theoden's silence, the writers kind of start to murmur approval at the words of Saruman.
Right.
And they, too, were silent and spellbound.
Yeah.
So...
And that next part, too, it seemed to them, so they're thinking in their heads that Gandalf had never spoken so fair and fittingly to their lord, as Saruman now does. Yeah. Rough and proud now seemed all his dealings with Theoden, and over their hearts crept a shadow. So I love how he takes the time he kind of goes through this hierarchy, right, of how these individuals are processing those words. Yeah. These writers are more common folk, right? They're valiant warriors, but they don't have the same kind of stature that Theoden, Aragorn, Éomer, Legolas, Gimli, Gandalf have. Yeah. Right? And they're more easily persuaded. They're more quick to question.
Let me ask you a question. Isn't it more difficult to speak truth to power?
Absolutely.
So Gandalf has to sometimes, I'd say, come off a little rough, and he's got to shake things up a little bit, and he's got to have a difficult conversation. Right. And so that might be in their mind, stuck in there like, wow, huh. And that's a harder thing to do versus to, pull a worm tongue or to wordsmith it or to kind of tell you what you want to hear.
That's exactly what I was going to say, man. Yeah. Because that's not what true friends, that's not what true allies do.
Right.
Because that keeps you in the same spot. It doesn't challenge you to overcome obstacles. Yeah. Right.
And there's a good way and a bad way to do that. Some people are more harsh and more, I don't know. They don't have the what's the word? I don't know. They're blunt.
Yeah.
And so I think Gandalf has a nice blend of that. But right now at this moment, what they see, as you say, is someone like, wow, that person's really being nice to me or talking. A true manipulator, you got to watch. I mean, there are people I see this with kids. Sometimes they're just learning, figuring things out, But if you watch, I mean, they know how to kind of win a person back or turn somebody against somebody else or the gossip, the school talk. I hear it literally every day. Yep. And it's amazing, to kind of watch. And I'm like, whoa, were we like that? We were. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's okay. That's actually okay. It's part of developing and growing. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So it was Gimli the dwarf who broke this silence. And he says, the words of this wizard stand on their heads. All right. In the language of Orthanc, help means ruin, and saving means slang. That is plain. But we do not come here to beg. And he kind of tries to tell Gimli off, but at the same, he tells him to be quiet. I'm not speaking to you.
You're of no concern to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You're not.
Land's far away.
But he kind of says, I'll come to you and we'll talk eventually. But so he's kind of backhandedly being a little bit, putting him off. But then
also kind of like taking his words and like subverting them to the writers and the others there. He's saying like, this doesn't concern you. You're from far away. You're not these men of Rohan. They're right here in this battle. Like you could go home. Yeah, you could escape this kind of stuff. Not them. I'm talking to them right now. They've got these troubles. I love too the detail he puts in there. Like Gimli doesn't just say this; he growls and grips the handle of his axe.
Yeah.
Dude, man. I don't know. I understand why he's so such comic relief in the films. I would have loved to see more shades of this Gimli. And we do get some of that, but like, man, I tell you what,
he truly
there's tons
represents
of them in the book. Yeah,
dwarves and stuff, and he represents them well. So, you
fierce loyalty, right?
Yeah. And it's actually so after he speaks and is kind of put down, Saruman's still trying to convince Theoden, and it's Éomer who speaks up.
Yeah.
Before the king. And I think that says something. That's sort of a...
Yeah, it does.
Also, it says two things, right? Éomer, younger, speaking before his king, stepping up, trying to guide in the right way, etc. But also there's wisdom in waiting and being patient.
Sure.
Hearing everybody else, out.
And think about the demons that Theoden is conquering, too, now.
Absolutely.
Right?
He's got a lot going on.
And I'm thinking, too, like, Éomer was able to... You're right. There's a difference there. In personalities, there's a difference in age.
Yeah.
Maybe even, like, self-worth between those two.
Yeah.
Because he plays on that, too, here. He talks about how he's the great son of legendary sires. And how Theoden even says, he's like, I'm the lesser son. There is that sort of, like, not self-loathing, but... He's harsh on himself, Theoden is, right? He sees his failures. He knows that, he was the one who was controlled by Grima.
Sure.
Éomer never was. Yeah. Éomer bucked that. Éomer did that to the point of being capped, being locked up because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally see what you're saying. I think it's twofold. I think it's everything you just said.
Yeah.
And I also think I just love, I don't know, this is just me personally, this is kind of who I am, but like I love being confident in silence.
Oh yeah.
And waiting.
Yep.
For just let stuff kind of, sometimes, man, silence can say so much.
Yeah.
And right now, I mean, I think, obviously, like the initial go-to here is that like he's dumbfounded, he's spellbound.
No, but
he doesn't know what to say. I mean, you might think that on an initial read.
Right. But I think, because you're left in suspense, right?
Yeah.
And I think it is absolutely what you're saying, because it's like he is... and he's also, I don't know, he's also doing something interesting with when he finally does speak, the contrast will be that much greater.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
When he finally does speak, you will have all this Saruman babble build up, and he's going to break through with reason, and his men are going to see it.
That's right. Yeah. It's very much, it makes the contrast, you're right, that much more. And
but it's because of that, like you said, that power of silence.
I love it. I love being comfortable with that, and almost like, because the power that Saruman has is words. Talk.
Weaving webs through his speech.
And it's funny because so many times in life, and I do this in meetings or just I talk with my kids about this sometimes, about being comfortable with a pause or a silence or wait time or whatever it may be. And people are very uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, they are.
And they're really your words that what's coming. They like it to be rapid fire. They like to have a rapid fire exchange, and
a lot of words, but not a lot of substance.
Right. And actually, I'll throw two people I know, and one more recent than another. My longtime friend Tom is very slow to kind of speak, but when he does, those words carry a little bit more weight. Yeah. And also, someone we recently met, Nicholas.
Oh,
very much. Thinks about and articulates in his very, like his word choice. Like he really picks.
I love that about Nick when you're talking to Nick.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, because you'll even see it in his face. Like I remember talking to him and I would almost kind of talk too much. I think I was talking too much just because I was making conversation, and you'd see him process what you're saying, formulate his words, but just that confidence in I'm going to take my time.
That's right.
Yeah. And I think about that, and I'm like that a lot at work.
Yeah.
We'll be in these meetings, and everyone wants to throw out these quick answers, and everyone wants to try and fill the space with whatever words. And I need time. I needed time to be in that meeting, go back and think, and then come back maybe days later with an idea that can help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not valued, though. You're right. The silence isn't valued as much. We have to be quick and witty, and we always have to have an answer.
Yeah. So anyways, I don't know. I thought I'd just point it out because it's a different kind of take on it. But anyways.
Totally.
Éomer, once he finishes, again, Saruman, talks about, he's basically kind of like, why are we, it's almost like they're picking on Saruman here, and they're not really seeing what he's saying, and he's trying to, again, convince them. And as you say, he's pleading with Éomer and telling him to, that what he's good at is fighting skills, his valor. Right. He's talking to a king, though. Éomer, hold on a second. Yeah. You're not king yet. Maybe when you are, and then then there's that other bit,
because he has that flash.
I'm gonna put you down for a second.
Yep. Then, he has that flash of anger that was plain for all to see. And then you're right. He comes back, and his voice is soft again. It's kind again, and he lulls them back into this. It is so manipulative, man.
When he also plays on their fear of what they don't know, that being the wood and the trees, Hjorns, right? And
they could be on your doorstep next.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, and again, he kind of says, but, my Lord of Rohan, am I to be called a murderer? Because, it's because valiant men have fallen in battle. If you go to war needlessly, for I did not desire it, then men will be slain. So kind of like, you guys are going to call me a murderer, and you're going to put all this at my feet. I didn't tell you to go to war.
Right.
Right. But Éomer had just said not to forget, his own son, because of Saruman, has lost his life.
Hama.
Yeah.
Hama's, death as well.
That's right. Yeah, Hama as well.
He goes on to bring on, you guys have done the same thing. Men of Rohan have your house is stained with murder as well.
Right.
They fought many wars, assailed many who defied them, yet with some they have afterwards made peace. So again, using their own ancestry, their own people, as an example of how, look, we can be friends, we can make this all right, we can be on the same team.
Right.
Jeezy. So that's where his knowledge of history is big too. His words are informed by his knowledge.
Sure.
He's premeditated. It's almost like as soon as things started going sour, he knew. He's like, oh, this is what's going to happen. I really need to have all my bases covered here. And I don't know how a wizard would think. They're probably way more cerebral and instant than this. But I need to be prepared for Theoden and Gandalf, and who else marching up here and having a conversation with them, and then how specifically and analytically I'm going to persuade them.
Yeah.
I'm going to go here first. I'm going to hit this point. That doesn't work. I got this point backed up. That doesn't work. I got this. Then I'm going to, if that person fails me, I'm going to this person. And you see him do this, work his way down until he becomes frustrated and says, forget you. I'm moving on to the next one.
Yeah. Isn't that, it's there's something about that. You even think of like politics and politicians.
Absolutely, dude.
Gosh, it's
an acceptable evil.
It is crazy because it's like, you're not even at that point in time having a genuine conversation, my friend.
Nope.
There's nothing conversational about it. You're there to take. You're a taker, and you're just trying to position this person in a way in which you can gain something from them. You get I don't know. There's really, as Gandalf later says, that Saruman wants to command, and he will not be commanded. He will not serve.
Right.
And so that's sort of his big downfall here. Yeah. So, but Theoden kind of finally says, Saruman's asking for peace. Can we, King Theoden, come on, can we have peace?
Right.
This is enough.
This is silly.
And the men kind of, you would imagine they've lost a lot. Yeah, we don't want any more fighting. Right. This is, boy, if we could just end this, that'd be great. Yep. And so they're almost happy to hear their king say, we will have peace. Yeah. So we will have peace.
They cry aloud. They're glad. Yeah. Cheering almost. Yeah, peace. And then where does he go with it as?
Well, he says it again. Yes, we will have peace. We will have peace when you and all your works have perished.
Bring it home, Thouden. Yeah. Come on.
In the works of your dark master to whom you would deliver us. Wow. So he makes a direct tie, there, which is, I'm sure Saruman doesn't like that. You are a liar, Saruman, and a corrupter of men's hearts. You hold out your hand to me, and I perceive only a finger of the claw of Mordor.
And what he's doing there is so genius, too, because not only is he aligning him with, Sauron, obviously, but he's saying, you're not big stuff, dude. You're not big stuff. Yeah. You think you're number one. You thought that you were going to fool Sauron
you're nothing.
And beat him to the ring. You're just a claw. You're only a finger on the claw of Mordor. Like that. He's also insulting him that way because, Saruman's heel is his pride, right? That's his weakness, is that he wants to rule. He wanted to get the ring back. That's the whole reason he set up all of his traps, right? Sent orcs out to try and get the hobbits. Bring the halflings back to me because I know that one of them has the ring. I want the ring for myself. I want to beat Sauron to it and then beat him and become ruler of Middle-earth. That's what he wanted. And Theoden here, not only is he saying we'll have peace when you're gone and all your works have perished, but at the hand of the one that you said you were serving, who's actually greater than you.
Yeah, and he kind of, it's actually kind of a dark image too that he kind of talks about when he talks about Hama, what was done, with his body before the gates of the Hornburg.
Yeah,
and his death and how that affected him and the children, that had been died, and he basically kind of talks about Saruman hanging and being sport for his own crows.
Yeah, from a gibbet. Yeah,
crazy. I mean, it's dark. But yeah. So he says,
and just for an image there, I looked up what a gibbet was, right? Because I thought I had an idea, but they were those in medieval times. They were those like 1 foot wide by 4 feet tall cages that would hang from this wooden post.
Oh yeah,
and people who committed crimes, whether they really did or not, were put in that spot when they were near death, and they were left there to die.
Yeah,
and then even after they were dead, their bodies like decayed there. So so really just like the ultimate insult to him. Yeah.
Oh boy,
have your own crows eat you.
Right. Yeah. And this is where you were talking about that he kind of says that he's not going to have this, for the House of Errol, right? He's a lesser son of great sires, but I do not need to lick your fingers.
It's a good podcast, man.
I was about to say the same thing. But I fear your voice has lost its charm. Man. Which I'm sure Saruman's saying the same thing. Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Where's my plan
This is
B?
a dude I had locked up with my number 2.
Yeah.
And I can't even get him back. That's the other thing, too, right? Like, I had Grima out there doing field work. One of my cronies. And I had Theoden under his influence. And here he is. I'll be able to wrap him up. No problem. I'll go at it real easy, like. And he stands up to me.
Yeah.
And defies me. What do you got? You're smirking. What's up?
Well, I just was looking ahead. It's funny when you listen to the book versus you actually sit here and read through some of these words.
Yeah.
It's interesting. What does he call? So Saruman gets really ticked, right? He is not happy about what was just said to him.
Dotard?
Yeah. Is that what it is?
Like a moron.
Yeah, an old person, especially one who has become weak or senile.
Yeah.
Gibbets and crows, right?
Which is ironic, too, because we think about the state he was in when we found him. He was a dotard.
Yeah. True.
He was.
Right.
Yeah.
He's making fun of the House of Arrow, too. He's like, they come from this thatched barn.
Yep.
Where brigands drink from the reek.
Wild animals rolling around with their dogs.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's that change, right? There's that harshness.
And his inability to control it because his pride was attacked.
Yeah. He says, long ago I offered you a state beyond your merit and your wit. I have offered it again, so that those whom you mislead may clearly see the choices of roads, right? So they can see that you're foolish.
Yeah.
So he tries to send them, send them away. But then he turns to Gandalf.
Right.
And he's, it's funny too, because, we think about, we've been told at this point, there's all this dramatic irony. What's that conversation going to be like? Last time you had Gandalf, we were told that you weren't treating him so well.
Right.
We were told that you were treacherous.
Right.
And I don't know. So you're definitely wondering right here, like, what is he going to say?
Yeah.
This is going to be interesting. But Gandalf hasn't moved. He hasn't said a thing. He's just waiting. So you talk about silence, power in silence, and just letting
things play out.
Power radiating. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Things play out, don't they?
Yep.
It's interesting sometimes that we speak too soon, and that could be our undoing, actually.
Right. Yeah.
It's sometimes better to wait, sleep on it,
Because he is, and that's another thing too. I also wonder if Gandalf is like, I don't. Okay, and this is where I'm going to make a connection to Gandalf and like God, right? You and I were raised, and that God created everything, and that He's given us free will to choose.
Yeah.
Right. And this is a parallel you could draw. And Tolkien, he was the greatest power for him was God as well. And, you talk about Gandalf's great power here. He's God-like. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And that's part of that silence is giving them that, he's warned them.
Oh, I see.
This is what's going to happen, right? He's going to come at you with his voice. But also part of that silence is, I'm going to let you choose. If I influence you too soon, it's not genuine.
Yeah.
I'm doing the same thing that Saruman's doing.
Yeah.
If I influence you too early. You know what I mean? With my words or my actions.
Yeah.
It's not you overcoming demons on your own. It's not you overcoming, for Theoden, overcoming your recent past.
Yeah.
Right? I had to shake you out of that one. I had to pull you out of that one. Just because you were so far gone. You're a little more established now. You're a little more back to who you used to be, your former glory. You've got to do this one on your own.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. If you isolate just this scene and you look at, what maybe Gandalf symbolizes, or we're trying to draw those parallels. Yeah, that's interesting. That you've been warned, but you got to make up your own mind
this
here.
This is your own battle, right? Yeah. In a lot of ways, it's like how Gandalf of the past, Gandalf the Grey, would disappear for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know he was off running other errands and doing things and aligning things or whatever, but I guess he just did it a couple chapters ago, didn't he? He disappeared. But it's like how he's almost disappearing from this conversation for a second. He's there, but you've got to survive. You've got to overcome some things.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the amazing thing about Gandalf is he pushes you to become better.
Yeah, absolutely.
God,
absolutely.
Man, he's amazing.
Yeah. So he turns to Gandalf and he says,
"Is this good stuff, dude?
It's great. It's actually good
stuff.
It's really good.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He says how it comes that you can endure such company. For you are proud, Gandalf.
Right.
And not without reason.
Right.
Having a noble mind and eyes that look both deep and far. Even now, will you not listen to my counsel?" I love this. It's like Gandalf almost stirs, comes out of this, wherever he was at, this place. I imagine that he's up high, seeing things far and wide,
Yeah. Why here I view.
Yeah, exactly. So, what have you to say that you did not say at our last meeting? He asked. Or perhaps you have things to unsay.
Isn't it crazy, too? Like, I think about how he tried to persuade Gandalf there. And it's like doubly ironic because it shows how proud he is that he can't see beyond his own desires. He seeks power. He's a prideful person. And he thinks he's going to hook Gandalf on complimenting him and saying how proud he should be. That's not how Gandalf works. He's always been humble.
Yeah.
He's always aligned himself with simple folk, right? With hobbits, with well,
he's projecting a little bit. I mean, Saruman.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Saruman thinks, okay,
this is what I would want to hear.
Yeah, pride works for me. I'm a proud person. I'm clearly just thinking about myself. It's just like this.
How could I manipulate myself? Yeah,
right.
What would work again? Yeah.
Right.
He's almost
doesn't even understand outside of his own mind. Like that's the thing with him, which I guess is true pride, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're
self-absorbed. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You're spot on there. I think it's neat that you have the word unsay. Because you have the power of speaking,
Oh, that's true.
Right?
What a cool play.
Yeah. And so,
gosh.
He's talking about what have you to say that you did not say at our last meeting.
Yeah.
Or perhaps you have things to unsay.
Whew, that's deep, dude.
Yeah. And so he's like, unsay. unsay, I endeavored to advise you for your own good, but you scarcely listened. You are proud and do not love advice, having indeed a store of your own wisdom. See, so every other line, it's sort of like a critique, but it's because here's me critiquing you, but I understand why you act that way because you have all this wisdom.
Right.
But here's another critique, and understand that as well because you're so...
criticism?
Yeah.
Some minor criticism?
Put it away. Yeah, so I don't know. He kind of... I don't know, man. It's just back and forth with him. It's
and the calling missed... I don't know if it's the manipulation or him truly misunderstanding that it's not pride that Gandalf is doing this. It is true wisdom. It is true wisdom. It is... it's a lack of pride. It's him doing what's best for everyone else and for the good of Middle Earth. It's the opposite of pride. That's selfless.
Yeah.
Jeez, dude.
Right. So...
And he brings up the whole high order. We're both...
Yeah.
This is Starry. Will you not consult with me? Will you not come up? He wants him to come up to... Again, just... that, which would signify Gandalf being under his power. You come up to me.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And Gandalf has this contrasting view of, will you not come down to me? Uh-huh. Which is also interesting, too, with the whole idea of pride and arrogance, right? Even physically, he has to be high up above everyone else.
Yeah.
He can't stand being at the same level as someone, or that gesture of coming down. It's too much for him to bear. He can't do it. He can't do it. His pride will not let him.
Yeah, you're right. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, that he has to come down. Yeah, exactly. So he goes on to talk about what all they could accomplish together, all these different things. Will you not come up? Yeah. So so great was the power that Saruman exerted in this last effort that none that stood within hearing were unmoved.
Yeah.
But now the spell was wholly different. They heard the gentle, words on of a kindly king with an erring but much loved minister. But they were shut out, listening at the door to words not meant for them.
Yeah.
And so,
kind of backfires, doesn't it?
Well, because, the words weren't directed at you. Right. They're still kind of stunned by the words, but yet they're just listening at the door. Yeah. Kind of like, I think he makes a reference to children kind of listening in on their parents on a conversation
Stupid servants.
Yeah, that they shouldn't be, hearing.
Yep. Alienates them, really.
Yes, yeah. So... Yeah, even in the mind of Theoden, a thought kind of takes shape here, like a shadow of doubt. He will betray us. Yeah, he will go.
Go up.
We shall be lost. Gandalf is going to leave us,
dude. Then this next line, how that vanishes in a second,
with laughter,
with Gandalf's laugh.
Yeah,
and his line. I've got to use the parlance of our younger listeners. This next part I just have written next to it. Savage. Saruman, said Gandalf, still laughing. Saruman, you missed your path in life. You should have been the king's jester and earned your bread and stripes, too, by mimicking his counselors. Boom, drop that mic. Yep. Amazing, dude. Yeah. Ah, me. He paused, getting the better of his mirth. So, still, controlling him, composing himself from laughing so much. Understand one another? I fear I am beyond your comprehension. Boom!
Well, isn't that something, too? Even if you can muster in times of an argument, like a smile or like a laugh or something, boy, it really sets the other person off, doesn't it?
It does.
And it's
so true. Is that also, it's genuine he's laughing at how stupid his words are, but is it also a little bit of a ploy to draw out more of that unleashed Saruman?
Well, and when you look at debates, you look at some of the great debates that have been had in history, the person who looks sometimes the more confident and doesn't lose composure, even though they may not have won the debate, it seems like they did. Yeah, because they weren't fazed by what you said.
Yeah,
so it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's just sort of laughing here and he pointing out all these different flaws and he says, when I last visited you, you were the jailer of Mordor, and there I was to be sent. Yeah. Nay, the guest who had escaped from the roof will think twice before he comes back in by the door.
I need that I need that in my house.
That's fantastic.
Somewhere.
Yeah. I do not think I will come up. But listen, Saruman, for the last time, will you not come down? Isengard has proved less strong than you had hoped. So he's begging him to come down. Think well, Saruman. Will you not come down? And
I have written right here, So put out of your mind for a minute what you know. And Gandalf goes on to talk about this later. Imagine if he had. Imagine it, the same way we imagined last chapter, like if the hobbits would have gotten too close and they would have been seduced by Saruman's voice and gone up and become his servants, and like the shock, the shock of the rest of them, like, you know, you see Saruman on the edge, and then you see two hobbits who are almost possessed, like coming by his side, being like, oh, "We've lost our hobbits," you know, like what? Like what if Saruman decided to turn there? It never would have happened because of his pride. I understand that, but just in like how different would this battle have been? And also, I guess, how like as other members, maybe beyond Gandalf and even Gandalf, how could you have him on the same team going forward and be able to trust him?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, what would you do?
Right.
Yeah.
Would you keep him always with Gandalf? Would he be limited?
Because
then?
those who are not, I mean, Gandalf can do this because he's in he's in a position of great power.
Right.
And, you know, and also he knows things, right? But like, you don't know. I mean, and again, you trust Gandalf, but it's tough. And that's a tough spot.
Like, say Saruman got put over you and you're in his charge. Would you even know if you were doing the right thing?
True.
Because of his power.
Yeah. Well, and the cool thing was too, so what Gandalf does, I mean, first he's just wanting him to come down. Yeah. But he does give him a condition, which we'll get to here in just a second.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yes, he does.
Which might have persuaded some to trust a little bit more. But yeah, he says,
but put it out of reach for Saruman. Like, I'm not going to do it because of these conditions. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Well, and he says, so does an unarmed man come down to speak with robbers at his door?
Yeah.
I can hear you well enough here. I am no fool.
Yeah.
And I do not trust you, Gandalf.
Yep.
So yeah, he's not coming down.
And a couple of lines too, right after that, when he says, you know, will you not come down? A shadow passed over Saruman's face, then it went deathly white. So we almost see here this moment of, you know, his whole guard dropping, and it's really kind of sad if you think about it. If you blow this moment up and live in it for a second, before he could conceal it, they saw through the mask the anguish of a mind in doubt, loathing to stay and dreading to leave its refuge. For a second he hesitated and no one breathed. And then again he comes back shrill and cold, and you know, pride and hate come back to conquer him. But in that moment, man, almost.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's interesting too. Gandalf, one of the best lines out of this whole chapter is the treacherous are ever distrustful.
Again, we need that in the house somewhere or on a t-shirt. Yeah. Like, he's a slogan master.
He is.
Gandalf.
He really is. Yeah. The treacherous are ever distrustful. Yeah. He says, you do not need to fear for your own skin. I'm giving you this one last chance.
Right. Yeah.
I have the power to protect you.
Yeah.
You can leave here free if you choose, as we said. Yep. Again, he's saying that sounds all well.
Yeah. What do you mean free?
Yeah. But why should I wish to leave? What do you mean by free? There are conditions, I presume, you know, and of course there are actually. Yeah. We're not stupid.
Right.
You know? So, yeah, he kind of goes on to explain just that, reasons for leaving, you can see from your window. Others will occur to your thought. Your servants are destroyed. They're scattered. Your neighbors have made you an enemy.
Right.
You've cheated your own master. That's a big one right there, you know? And so that eye is going to turn on you, and it's going to be, you know, the red eye of wrath. Yeah. As he says. Yeah. So, but when I say free, I mean free from bond of chain or command, to go where you will, even to Mordor, Saruman, if you desire. But you will first surrender to me the key of Orthanc and your staff. So he could have gone there. Yeah. He's saying, go do what you want. Here's I will let you go.
And Sauron knows that's not even an option.
Oh, there's no
not
way.
An option.
I mean,
because of his treachery, he couldn't go to Mordor.
There's actually really nowhere he can't. I
mean, and that's kind of what Gandalf is illustrating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like your only option really is to turn over your key, to humble yourself, because that's the opposite of the pride, right? That is in a way what he's doing is he's providing a way for Saruman to conquer his biggest challenge.
That's right. Redeem himself.
Right. Right. Come back, you know, do the opposite of what you've always desired, and prove to us that you can be used for good.
Yep. So,
man, it's deep stuff, dude.
Well, and again, he's projecting here too, again, because he gets livid, right? He's twisted with rage, and he's kind of saying that, you know, that yes, when you have the keys
Right.
to Barad-dûr itself, I suppose, and the crowns of the 7 kings and the rods of the 5 wizards, and you've purchased yourself a pair of boots, many sizes larger than those that you wear now, a modest plan. So basically, once you have all these things, sure,
Right.
you like basically he can't trust. He's projecting. Those are the things that he wants.
wanted to do. Right.
Yeah. So he's not going to be a fool. He doesn't. He's not going to. He's not playing along here. I say playing along because that's what I think he thinks Gandalf's trying to get him to do, and he actually tries to leave. He tries to turn and leave.
Dude,
this is best.
Yeah. Do you take it because it's powerful?
Well, it's just
him.
He turns to leave, and I'm sorry, Gandalf did not tell you that you could leave. I'm sorry, young man. I did not give you permission to go to the bathroom. No, please sit down.
How did the order says?
I'm
Get
gonna
on
pull
back
Gandalf
here.
tomorrow at school. No, I'm just kidding. But so he says, "Come back, Saruman."
Yeah.
And in that command
In
we
a
talked about
commanding voice.
speaking,
Right. Words of command.
Words of command.
Yeah.
And it actually, you can see a force that kind of pulls him back against his will, and he comes back leaning against he's breathing hard. He's against the rail.
Yeah.
His face is lined. He's clutching his black staff,
Yeah.
and he says, "I did not give you leave to go."
And the cool thing we're seeing here too is, this chapter is the voice of Saruman, right? And how it's built up as this great power.
Come on.
Then we see it waning.
Yep.
And then we see this new voice coming.
That's right.
And we get this whole thing too that Gandalf laughed when he first came back to the hunters, and Gandalf, yeah. Sorry, we thought you were Saruman. Oh, maybe, I'm Saruman as he should have been.
Yeah, exactly.
Like just the whole crazy, and the fact that they look so similar, the fact that they, at one time weren't that different.
Gandalf has come back.
Come back, baby.
Man, he's back.
He's back. And I love too that. Okay, man. God, I love talking this with you, man.
Yeah.
I love it because I'm thinking the chapter of this title of this chapter, rather, let's get it right there, is unfinished. The voice of Saruman.
Yeah.
It's no more.
Has diminished.
The power of the voice of Saruman is gone.
Yeah, is gone. Yeah.
Like that's the cool thing, and we're seeing this here right in this moment. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Well, yeah, and so, yeah, you get this moment. So that command, he comes back, right, and then Gandalf's voice kind of grows with power, and he says, "Behold, I am Gandalf the Grey, whom you have betrayed. I am Gandalf the White, who has returned from death. Man, you have no color now, and I cast you from the Order and from the Council." I don't know.
Words of command.
Yeah, he gets that, that
was beautiful, by the way.
Epic.
Yeah.
He just goes
Got
nuts.
Chills. Yeah.
He raises his hand, and Saruman, your staff is broken.
And Gandalf breaks his staff with his own words.
Yeah.
True power.
He just tells him it's broken, and it's broke.
And it's broken.
Yeah. And so there's a crack.
Jeez.
It's split. And the head of it fell at Gandalf's feet.
Right.
Which is, there's some
fitting there.
Yeah, imagery there. Symbolism, something. But yeah, he tells him to go. And with a cry, Saruman fell back and crawled away. At that moment, a heavy, shining thing came hurtling down from above.
Action-packed.
Yeah. It glanced off the iron rail, even as Saruman left it, and passing close to Gandalf's head. Now, what's interesting is look how close it passed to that rail where Gandalf,
where
Saruman had just left.
I was just going to say, whose head was it aiming for?
That's what they, right? Yeah. So, we're not sure, right? But they threw something out that window that was pretty valuable.
Yeah.
And we find out that Grima was behind that. He tosses it out one of the upper windows there.
And the wisdom of Aragorn, and I forgot that they talked about that, but the wisdom of Aragorn, the aim was poor maybe because he could not make up his mind which he hated more.
Yeah.
You or Saruman.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
it's almost like
he's in trouble.
Yeah. And I love how he says that because it's true, but it's also kind of funny, right? It's Aragorn bringing a little levity to the situation. And Gandalf says, "That may be so. Small comfort will those two have in their companionship. They will gnaw one another with words. But the punishment is just. If Wormtongue ever comes out of Orthanc alive, it will be more than he deserves."
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing, too. So what I think is neat, I'm not sure where it's going to happen because we're kind of getting close to the end here, but We have a conversation coming up with Treebeard, but there are many precious things here in Orthanc, right? And so what was thrown down, so you get this, so Pippin runs over and grabs the Palantir, right? How do you say it?
Palantir.
Palantir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he takes well, he's holding it for quite a bit. He's walking with it, and Gandalf quickly kind of grabs it and takes it back. And it's not something that that he should be handling. And we'll talk more about it later. But there are many trinkets and there are powerful objects there that it's too bad they didn't have the keys.
You're right.
To go up in and
Gandalf also says, had they had the keys and had freedom to go search all of Orthanc, they couldn't have found a more valuable object to have been just happen chance thrown down towards them. Yeah. And it's also ironic, right? So a little bit of history, the very item that was thrown out is what drew Saruman to that location in the first place.
Yeah.
He didn't always live in Isengard. Right? He heard rumors that item was at Isengard. And that's what drew him to Orthanc.
Yeah.
That item, because of its power and its communication and influence, ended up leading in a way to his full corruption and his loss of power through lust for power. Though lust of power is what drove him, and that same item would be lost and thrown away at that very spot.
It's crazy.
It is, man.
Well,
that's damn good writing.
Yeah, it is. I think next chapter 2, we're going to talk more about the history of that object and those objects.
Right.
So we'll get into that.
Woo!
But anyways, so Gimli kind of says, let's get a bit further away in case one more of those bad boys comes out of the upper window there. And Gandalf says, it is the end. The debate's over. Let us go. They turn. They head back out and they find Treebeard, and they have a little discussion with him, just kind of explaining the significance and the importance of keeping him there at Isengard, right? And so that they don't want him to get out.
Right.
He actually, what does he do? He also tells him to kind of, let the waters come again, turn this, into a lake, flood this area,
right, because he fears that, he's got some escape routes,
right?
Some exits, some contingency plans, as it were, for escape. He had to have foreseen all the possible outcomes, and one of them being, being captive in his own tower, that he, probably, dug some holes that led away to safety.
Yeah.
Or escape, I guess.
Yeah. So, anyways, I don't know.
There's a bit that it's only 2 more pages left, but it's like so many cool things happen.
Yeah, it's kind of them talking about. Well, that was the whole bit about what Grimlock kind of threw out. Throwing that device out,
and then you have Treebeard and the Ents and Aragorn, the Gimli, and Legolas meeting them, just kind of being amazed and struck with wonder.
Right, talking about going back to a forest, right, and getting Gimli's head count on orcs.
Yeah,
and
even Treebeard, he's kind of put off by that axe, right, and he says, this is a strange friendship. I have goodwill to elves, but you ask much to let this this little dwarf in, with his axe, and how Legolas says it's only used for orc necks.
Yeah,
all that stuff.
Yeah, and he talks about wanting to bring him back, and he's made this promise that that he wants to come back and really get into Fangorn, and kind of see it. So I think that's pretty neat. They all get a chance to kind of encounter Treebeard, and it's such a great moment.
You have a cool kind of realization that Treebeard has, and I got kind of misty at this part, dude. I got kind of struck just by this unlikely friendship, In the Old Forest, these 2 characters were almost killed by an Ent-like being. Yeah. And here they are.
Come on.
Saying goodbye to a friend.
Come on.
And it's just crazy. I get chills just think because you just were in this chapter with a lot of icky stuff. Yeah. A lot of manipulation, a lot of hate, a lot of people who are or beings who are very similar that can't coexist. Now you got a couple of beings that are very, very different that are like saying farewell.
My friend also, I know.
Hey man, come on, dude.
I know. You've got me. You just hit a chord with me. because here's the other thing too, is that remember at the beginning of this, they were left behind.
Yeah.
But in the eyes of Treebeard, they've now made it into the lists.
Yep.
And I actually thought more. I had a note to kind of tell you this. I thought about how this story would be told to Tolkien himself by a tree, and how it had been passed down, by his good friends,
right?
And how the Ents had told the stories of the hobbits. And one of the most interesting things that was ever entered into the old lists were the hobbits. One of the last things, you know. And so the story comes down to Tolkien in such a way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what I thought. I was sort of like, wowzers! Wow, there it is. His friend was able to speak. He spoke to trees.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and he listened.
He did. And so they told him this story. That's how we got all this goodness.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So it just made me think too. It's I don't know. It's fantastic. Just it's very, very. It's such a small little part, but this parting.
It's beautiful.
Is something
we got to read some of it. Is that cool?
Go for it.
Gandalf just says, "Yes, we must go and go now. I fear that I must take your gatekeepers from you, but you will manage well enough without them." Gandalf, he understands what they mean to him, but it's almost kind of like a flippant, you'll be fine without the hobbits. And Treebeard says, maybe I shall, but I shall miss them. We have become friends in so short a while that I think I must be getting hasty, growing backwards towards youth perhaps. But they are the first new thing under the sun or moon I have seen for many a long, long day. And how interesting too, I guess, flipping that on its head, to hobbits and Ent is the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like they used to, they made fun of Sam, who was Ted Sandman, and made fun of Sam for talking about a tree walking.
Sure.
Right? A rare thing that is brand new. But to an Ent, hobbits are that very thing.
Yep.
A myth, something they'd never heard of before.
Yeah.
I shall not forget them. I have put their names into the long lists. Ents will remember it. Ents, the earthborn, old as mountains, the wide walkers, water drinking, and hungry as hunters, the hobbit children, the laughing folk, the little people. Man, and you're right. Like that makes sense that these trees, they're the ones who passed on this story to
absolutely.
Tolkien. In a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit. I'm gonna tell you about some.
Yes.
Jeez, boy.
Yeah, he says, and they shall remain friends as long as leaves are renewed.
And right next to the Ents. Right next to them.
Yes.
There are other lines.
That's right.
In those lists.
But they're friends. And he put them right there.
Even in the list, they're friends.
And for him to feel that youth and for almost to grow backwards.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which
such a cool kind of.
Yeah. And you think about that, how impossible for a tree. Trees never grow backwards. Like they're, nothing does, I guess, obviously, but how impossible for a tree. Always expanding, always older, always, it's not like they can have a time of arrested development like as people can.
Yeah.
Like where you try to be younger and you act younger. Trees don't do that.
Yeah. Isn't it something too, just the way that like the hobbits have this effect on everyone?
Yeah.
They really do. They bring out the best in everyone.
And almost and the youthfulness, right?
Yeah. That's sort of what it is. It's almost like, imagine an old man seeing his great-great-grandchild.
Yeah.
And holding that child,
Yeah.
And such a one about to leave and one just starting.
I'm sure you see it with your dad.
Yeah.
And Rachel. I see it with my dad and Winnie.
Yeah.
My mom and Winnie.
Absolutely.
Sarah's parents. You see them, they turn back into children themselves.
Yeah.
I turn back into a child. You turn back, interacting with.
We're playing. We're speaking in,
gibberish.
Weird gibberish. And it's funny.
They shall remain friends, like you said, as long as leaves are renewed. Fare you well. And then this like, his one consuming quest that he's never fulfilled. He asked them, if you hear news up in your pleasant land in the Shire, send me word. You know what I mean. Word or sight of the Entwives. Come yourselves if you can. And then Merry and Pippin, we will, they said together, and they turned away hastily.
Yeah.
Which is fitting.
Yeah, they turned away hastily.
Yeah, Treebeard looked at them and was silent for a while, shaking his head thoughtfully.
Yeah.
What was his thought?
Right. I'm thinking he thought to himself, I'll go there one day.
Yeah.
I'm going to check on these two lads.
Yeah.
And I might just see for myself if they're there.
And I think to myself, he's, I don't know, maybe just how a lot of people, like how Gandalf himself looks at hobbits and just with a wonder that you can't express in words anyway.
Yeah.
Just a, wow.
Yeah.
A laugh is all you can do, and a shake of your head.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, so essentially, yeah, that's in kind of here towards the end. He turns to Gandalf, and they have their discussion, as I mentioned before, just about the importance of keeping Saruman here and keeping a close eye. And Treebeard kind of says, "Leave it to the Ents.
Yep.
We shall search the valley from head to foot and peer under every pebble."
Yep.
And so he's basically saying, not even a squirrel will go here, but I shall know of it.
Yep.
Leave it to the Ents until 7 times the years in which he tormented us have passed. We shall not tire of watching him.
Yeah. And the fact that new trees will come to live here.
Absolutely.
And that will be called the Watchwood.
Yes, the Watchwood. That's right.
How
yes.
cool is that? Good podcast name, too.
Absolutely.
Speaking of podcasts, I don't know, man. I was just thinking, would you ever want to make a podcast with me?
Maybe.
Talking Tolkien?
We could.
Got to get the name just right, though.
Yeah, we would. We'd have to get it right.
We would? Is that a play on words? Wood? Watchwood?
The Watchwood Podcast.
It's not too bad, Ez.
The Watchwood Podcast.
Got any other?
Maybe the Sorry Man Podcast.
Oh, sorry, man. Your voice ain't got no effect here, boy.
Sorry, man.
Or Thank Us in the Morning podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Refresh Yourselves Podcast. Yeah.
I like that. Sounds like something Gandalf would say. Gandalf Broke My Staff in Half podcast. Maybe.
Yeah, I like that one. We're getting there.
Not yet. We're getting close. Maybe one of these days we'll get our heads
Refresh yourself before you wreck yourself. You know what I mean?
You got any cool connections?
Well,
we've kind of worked them in, haven't we?
I think one thing that Luca kind of brought up, I pulled this from the group, is just kind of telling a little bit of story, from last chapter and then into this chapter, just about how Saruman kind of how he got that pipeweed, and so basically how he he was always jealous of Gandalf and oftentimes was interested in what he was interested in.
Yep.
Because he was wise enough to see wisdom, and he understood that he might have been up to something, so he kept an eye on him.
Yep.
And he himself often, would maybe venture into the Shire. Yep. And he even had she goes on to kind of talk about how the squint-eyed stranger was someone who was working for him to bring that pipeweed secretly there to Isengard, which is cool, really cool. I actually didn't. That's something Luke. So thanks, Luca, because information she's again getting from the Unfinished Tales and different folk, different places, but really cool stuff to kind of wonder, why he had that, and it's a bunch of foreshadowing as to what may take place later on.
And he, it was interesting. You talk about that, how he observed Gandalf and took note. He used them as an indicator, like a bobber, almost. He took note of, especially before all these events happened. You're right. He kept close watch on where Gandalf was, who he was talking to, where he spent his time, and had spies just infiltrate and shadow him. And there's a reason Gandalf countered that with the Bounders, and how Aragorn, helped in that effort himself on the borders of the Shire.
Yeah.
I also just...
You had a couple different cool connections.
Yeah,
right?
I'm trying to read them here, and I talked about that one. Interesting, kind of reading about the history of Saruman, how the downfall of all of our enemies kind of come at the instances of Gandalf forcing their hand prematurely. Mm-hmm. Right. Gandalf has, recognizes that the ring is what it is, and pushes the hobbits to leave, and that forces, Mordor's not totally all the way ready to go yet.
Yeah, for sure.
And it pushes them out. So essentially, Gandalf he initiates everything. He dictates everything, and because of that, the forces of evil have to respond to that. And just honestly, the fact that unfortunately, like we'll talk about later. Much later, that his voice unfortunately still has some strength and some magic.
Yeah.
And get him to a place that is very like hard to see and think about. And then also we talked about this the other week and we haven't said it on here, but Tolkien is so skilled. He is so he immerses you so much that, dude, in this storyline, and I guess it's also because we're rereading, we're going in for details, we're picking it apart. But I mean, I haven't thought about the hobbits. I haven't thought about Frodo and Sam and their quest at all. I have been so dug deep into this storyline that I forget that they're still out there.
Yeah.
That we're acting as a distraction, that we're trying to aid them in our own way. It's amazing. It's amazing how he's able to do that. And then really, like, when we'll get back in there, it'll be such a, oh God, wow. Yeah. Forgot this was going on. This is kind of important.
Yeah. Interesting. Man, dude, I'm just doing a little bit of reading here too on the origins of Saruman. Didn't you dig into this a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. He's essentially Sauron's little brother, right?
This is crazy, man.
Yeah.
There's some really interesting stuff here.
And
just
the parallels between those two are insane.
Yeah.
Even the way they operate. And if you think about Orthanc 2 and Isengard and what he was doing, he was building a mini Mordor.
Yeah.
He's destroying everything, pits, building it around a tower, enslaving everyone around him, destroying.
Well, you can't help but to wonder too, like his journey east with the two blue wizards.
Oh, here's my theory, dude.
Yeah, come on.
I have a theory.
Hey guys,
did I not write this down anywhere? Oh my gosh.
Major controversy here.
Oh, it's the first one. I said, what did Saruman find in the east? So I read about that.
All right.
The blue wizards ventured east, right? And we know that, whatever. Saruman also went east.
Yeah.
He traveled for a millennia and a half.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened to the blue wizards.
Right.
Did Saruman have something to do with that?
Oh, dude, that's what I was going to say.
Did he kill the blue wizards?
That's what I was going to say. That's awesome. I'm sure other people did it. Yeah.
We don't know. I mean, that's one of those cool things. It's like Tom Bombadil. We get to play around with it. But is the reason we never hear from the blue wizards again, because Saruman went out there too and was getting them out of the way. That's what he seems to try and do with these other wizards, man.
Yeah.
He wants to be the one. He wants to be the head. He wants to rule over everyone. And if wizards are in his way, I mean, can you imagine 4 against 1?
Right.
And really, he plays on Radagast too. I think he makes Radagast feel so bad for having, in a way, he saves Gandalf, but he kind of betrayed him first unwittingly. He didn't know he did.
Sure.
That, once he sends Gwahir and saves Gandalf, I feel like, and this might be wrong, but we don't know what happens with Radagast. No. Maybe he's so consumed with like guilt or disappointment or whatever. He's a gentle creature.
Sure.
He's in touch with nature, that maybe he just disappears because he feels like, I don't want to mess anything else up.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
But so like in that, if you look at it that way, he's knocked off every other wizard, but he couldn't get over Gandalf.
Yeah. Well, and what's funny is the reluctant Gandalf, the one who, Manwë didn't or wanted to send, but he didn't want to go.
Yeah.
And he ends up going. Oh, it was interesting. I was reading Saruman shows up alone, kind of thing. Like Círdan is there and sort of just I don't know. There's a lot of different things that in his backstory I like to go look at. Phil, by the way, posted a wonderful thing in our group on Saruman and some of his history. So
fill us in,
man. So there's that. But yeah, a long time there in the east, and only
3 wizards go east,
and one comes back. Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Interesting, my friend. So
hashtag did he do it?
Yeah. Let us know some of your cool connections here, and tell us what you know about Saruman, what you think is cool, any hidden little mysteries, little nuggets, connections to Sauron, all that good stuff. So.
Yeah, beautiful.
All right, friends, we are into Bywater Post.
Woo!
And we have Devin Hughes, right?
Awesome.
Devin Gunn, I think. So let me see here. Oh, boy.
Devin Hughes Gunn.
Yeah.
Man.
This is a good one.
You want to read this one?
Uh-huh.
All right.
Hello. I thought I had won the lottery when I found this podcast. Well, if you ever do, please contact us at inunexpectedpod@gmail.com, and we will help you spend that money.
You guys think way too highly of us.
No,
it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, you really do. Yeah. I listened to podcasts at work during slow times, and I was searching for something new and found an unexpected podcast.
Wow.
Well, that was unexpected then, right?
It is.
I'm a little behind as I write this, just finishing the Breaking of the Fellowship episode, but I'm hoping to catch up soon. And actually, never mind. This is a surprise, so I'll save that for later. I apologize if this gets a little lengthy. The Lord of the Rings and I go way back.
What's the number one rule of the book club?
Don't
apologize for lengthiness.
Yeah, now being hasty, that's another thing.
We don't like that here.
Yeah. I was first introduced to Lord of the Rings in high school. The movies had already come out, and my best friend loved them. I devoured the books, then moved on to the movies. My dad was a huge fan as well. Some of my best memories are rushing home from football games on Friday night after performing in the marching band with my best friend. I played the trumpet. Then camping out in my living room and watching the movies with my dad.
That's awesome.
Yeah. My dad is a high school band director and has always been very busy, even all summer long. I always remember those Friday nights, staying up till 1 or 2 a.m. watching the movies together.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. We would talk about the characters and how amazing the music was. It's always been a dream of mine to play the Lord of the Rings soundtrack with a symphony. Wow.
There are some amazing trumpet parts.
Yeah, I bet there are. Needless to say, I was obsessed. I had a huge crush on Frodo and Aragorn. And I still have a crush on Aragorn.
Yep.
I have read and reread the book so many times that I've lost count. I started college as a music performance major, but switched to an English major, where Tolkien and the Lord of the Rings became the focus of much of my work. I actually wrote my senior thesis on Tolkien and the Hobbit, and how Tolkien created a mythology, drawing from cultures and mythologies around the world. I'd be happy to share the paper with anyone who might be interested. Absolutely.
Get that to us. That'd be great.
That'd be fantastic. Besides a sort of a scholarly source, the Lord of the Rings has come to mean so much more to me. I have struggled with anxiety and depression since high school. I vividly remember one moment in high school. I was a junior, I think. I was very upset, crying in my room alone, and feeling that life just might not be worth it. All of a sudden, the scene towards the end popped into my head, where Sam is telling Frodo that there's still some good in the world that's worth fighting for. Yeah. Wow. So, is this it? Is this the, yeah. So,
I'll be Frodo, you be Samwise.
Okay. All right.
I can't do this, Sam.
I know. I can't do the fight. It's a powerful scene. I'm not going to do it justice, but it's all wrong. By rights, we shouldn't even be here, but we are. It's like in the great stories, Mr. Frodo, the ones that really matter. Full of darkness and danger they were, and sometimes you didn't want to know the end, because how could the end be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad happened? But in the end, it's only a passing thing, this shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come, and when the sun shines, it will shine out the clear. Those were the stories that stayed with you, that meant something, even if you were too small to understand why. But I think, Mr. Frodo, I do understand. I know now. Folk in these stories had lots of chances of turning back, only they didn't, because they were holding on to something.
What are we holding on to, Sam?
That there's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for.
Holy crap, dude.
Yeah.
Ezra Kirk for Samwise.
Oh, absolutely. That was my best.
That was awesome.
That was my best Sam. Yeah, right.
That was beautiful.
No, yeah, it's worth fighting for. Yeah, there's some good in this world, and it's worth fighting for. That's powerful. I mean, it really is.
You ever say that to yourself?
Yes.
Bad day.
Yes.
Feel like you're not making a difference.
Yeah. It's tough. It's you go through different things.
Sarah loves this scene.
Yeah.
She'll often reference this scene in My Goldberry.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird when I call her Sarah here. And that line. I mean, I could probably play that for her right now and she'd start bawling. It's just, it's an amazing.
Yeah, it's so fantastic. Woo. Devin, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
This part of the book and the movies has always stood out to me and comes to me when I need it the most. Without the Lord of the Rings, I honestly am not sure where I would be today. Life is full of ups and downs, but Sam was right. What really makes it worth it is those glimmers of goodness that can be found even at the worst times. Tolkien's stories have this amazing knack of fitting into everyone's life at some level, no matter their own story, lifting them up and encouraging them when they need it most. I believe this is why stories and literature are so powerful. I've also always considered myself somewhat of a hobbit as well, standing only 4 feet 11 inches. I've always loved how it's the smallest, seemingly insignificant people who can change and impact the world. Most in the Lord of the Rings. Definitely an encouraging thought for someone vertically challenged as I am. I attached an old photo from freshman year where I prove that I would fit into the Hobbit hole perfectly. This was taken at the midnight premiere of the first Hobbit movie. So thanks so much for this wonderful podcast and community you've created, as well as taking the time to read this. Yours in fellowship, Devin Gunn. So
Devin, that's beautiful. Again, guys, I know we say it almost every time we meet, but this is our absolute favorite part of every episode is when we get to sit here and read your stories and connect on different levels and learn new things and see your personal individual connection to these great stories.
Yeah,
man, it's powerful.
That's awesome.
It just kind of struck me there as you were reading through that. The ones I read sometimes I don't always get the process, but hearing that one, you read that one, it just hit me. I'm like, this is, how many stories have we heard?
Yeah, right.
How many stories have we shared? How many of you have been brave enough to, send in your personal story? That takes a lot, man. And then to put your name to that too and say, this is me. This is my part in the tale. This is my part in Middle Earth and bringing these stories into real life and how,
my friend, every single one of you, that's listening and wherever you're at around the world, there's someone else on the opposite side of the world who's living in your story. Yeah. And it's crazy. Yeah. We don't even know it. Right. And we don't know when they're going to come across our path or if we'll even know or if we have no idea. Yeah. It's fascinating to me. It really is. To think about all the different stories that are being woven. You know, it's unreal. And so this book club has made me think of that, and just think of all these different folk, and everyone going about their lives, and that we, right now, what we have in common is that we are here. Yeah. We're in this present together, which is crazy to think about. Like, you and I are here together. Yeah. I don't know, man.
I know.
That in of itself is just something to think about.
It's mind-blowing. Yeah. So. It really is. Wow.
Let's switch to something lighthearted. Strawberries with cream.
It's not going to really be that much more lighthearted. Thank you, Devin, for that. It's beautiful. Thanks, your story is beautiful. Strawberries with cream. I don't feel like I want to get lighthearted after that, man.
That's fine. Give me something.
In this chapter, we get a first-hand look at the power of Saruman's voice. If you were an Astari and could choose a power or choose a way to channel your powers, what would it be and why? Let me go first. Give you some time to think.
Wow. Yeah, go ahead.
Did you read your answer?
Yeah, I read yours. And mine.
Oh, mine. Okay, so mine would be Joybringer. If I could if my presence could bring joy and relaxation to people I interact with in the same way that Saruman's voice in the opposite way, I guess. His brought manipulation and influence for whatever he wanted. Mm-hmm. It'd be cool if just your very presence could bring happiness and joy and peace, relaxation, kind of the opposite of anxiety. I think I was just thinking about this before we got to it. I think the subconscious reason I would like this is because, and I think Goldberry would share this with everyone because she's very transparent. She has a lot of anxiety. Mm-hmm. She worries about stuff. She, there are times, like all of us, she doesn't see who she truly really is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think if I could, she would probably say that I do, but I don't always. I know that I don't always because sometimes you're unable to bring joy to someone. But if I could just always, by being around her, bring her joy and take that stuff away like that, that would be awesome. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. It'd be a cool power to have, wouldn't it?
Absolutely would. Yeah, it would be.
Peacemaker type of deal. Staffcraft.
But it's not as cool as the power that I want, man.
Let me hear it, baby. I'm interested in this one because you are a wizard.
Let me tell you what I want.
Flannel wizard.
Let me tell you what I want.
Okay.
All right. I want. God, does I just get one thing? I just get one thing.
No, you can have a couple. Saruman had multiples.
Yeah.
Gandalf has multiples.
What does everybody want, man? Let me tell you what everybody wants. They want to be able to put their staff out there, okay? And they want to be able to say, bam. And whatever they want to have happen, happens.
You want to be a genie.
Is that what it's called?
No.
I think it's called being a wizard, all right?
Yeah, okay.
I want to be able to hold my hand up, and I want a little white light to come out of it.
Holy
and purple light, and blue light, and green light. I want to be able to,
whatever light someone needs, you're going to bring it to them.
I'm going to shine that.
Light bringer, light bearer.
There it is. And I also want an invisible flannel cloak.
What would that look like?
I don't know.
What does an invisible flannel look like?
I want to be invisible.
How could you tell it's flannel? Is it like the inside flannel? Like you see flannel, but everyone else says invisible?
Yeah.
Like Harry Potter's thing?
Right. But the
That's pretty cool.
The texture would be flannel. Yeah.
Is flannel a texture, though?
Yes, it is.
I thought it was a pattern.
It's texture. It is.
Is it to you, or is it technically?
It's technically technically flannel. There's a flannel
dude, I think
sheep
I'm gonna do
that you have to go,
only in Scotland.
Sure.
It's got the tartan lining.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna do I'm gonna get the old art instruments out, the old paintbrushes, the old pencils. I think I'm gonna do a rendition of what the flannel wizard would really look like.
Please do that, because I almost was gonna do. I don't want to spoil this, but I'm thinking about dressing up obviously for the next party. And I've been thinking
wizard
about
costume
in flannel.
Oh,
I've been thinking about getting like a seamstress or someone to help me make it.
Maybe I could grow my beard out again and do the Butterbur thing. Shave it right down the middle and have the Butterbur ham hocks.
That would be fantastic.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
That'd be really cool.
Flannel wizard and Butterbur.
Yeah. Here we are. Yep.
Okay, let's do it.
So,
awesome. That was fun.
All right. Well, hey.
Time to share the load.
Time to share the load, friends. You can do this in many ways. You can give us a review on iTunes. Those are definitely, you guys have not. Those actually really help more than you realize. So that just helps the book club to kind of, it doesn't have to be you can just smash that 5-star button. You know what I'm saying? It's not asking a whole lot.
Yeah.
No. You don't have to write anything or anything crazy. It'd be great if you do. But it just helps the podcast kind of get out there and helps us grow the book club is what it does, honestly. Yeah. So, if you've got something you want to say there, cool, go for it. If there's feedback, awesome, that's fine too. Whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So there's that. You can also join the book club. Easy way.
Yep.
Hop in there, join the Facebook group, and you can kind of interact. Since we got memes, we got all sorts of stuff going on there. It's positive, it's friendly, and everyone has been just fantastic. So if you're looking for a really good environment to join and to get involved in, it's fantastic.
It is. It's immersive in the best way possible.
Yeah.
A flood of. Imagine Isengard being flooded with positivity.
There. Yeah. I could see it.
Or the leaves of the Malorn trees being little happy drops.
I see it. I do see it.
I see it.
There it is.
I see the island.
All right.
Could we please get Adam Driver in
Middle
Middle Earth?
I sure hope.
Golly. Elrohir or Eladin? Maybe both.
Perfect.
Both.
He'd be perfect, actually. So,
son of Elrond. Sons.
Yeah. Now, we also have some cool Patreon stuff. You can check that out at patreon.com/UpTalkingTolkien.
Yep.
It's decent.
And honestly, with Christmas break, we'll have a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
We can pick back up with the travel pod. I know a lot of you guys, well, it seems like a lot of you are going to New Zealand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or some of you have come back recently and maybe you want to take a trip down nostalgia lane with Lane and Ez.
Yeah.
And get back on that. I think.
But we will have more time. We talked about that. We're going to do some of our recordings for our appendices with our patrons over break. I'm hoping if we can. So. Yeah. But yeah, so check that out. We're working on the studio. That's still in the works. So got a lot of fun stuff. I think your dad was excited about that. My dad was excited about that as well.
I told you it'd be a cool father-son project.
Yeah. Be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
so.
it would be.
All right, guys. So check that out at patreon.com/UpTalkingTolkien. Mm-hmm. And get all the goodness there.
Time for some weekly well wishes, only fortnight farewells.
We want to thank you for plugging your ears with us this chapter. Our next episode will be Unable to Look Away in Chapter 11 of Book 3, The Palantir. Guys, this is our last chapter with the characters we've been on this trip with for the last 11 chapters.
It's going to be rough transition, I think.
And then we're heading back in time. We're doing some time travel.
It's crazy.
And we're picking back up with old Samwise and Frobo Baggins.
That's right. All right, friends. If you like our podcast, don't forget to subscribe, like us, write that review, leave a comment or send us a Shadowfax.
We'll see you in a Hobbit fortnight. Remember, Frodo lives.